larger group than normal. And you know what? Why don't I just actually start my countdown timer? So we are a little early. We will be going live with the actual coral portion of the sale in about 10 minutes. Hopefully y'all are enjoying your weekend. By the way, guys, feel free to say hello.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Happy February.
Good afternoon.
Fantastic. So I actually have a seat in case any of them want to come and join me on camera, but so far they've said no. I've only fed them and given them like good drinks and everything like that, some delicious coffees and stuff. But no, not good enough just yet. So well, once they're feeling a little less shy, well, we'll hang out with some of them in a little bit. So real quick, some order of business type stuff. Okay, we are already all full up on shipping for Monday. We're already scheduling stuff well into Tuesday. So pretty much all like the sales and selling that goes on during this today's live show is pretty much going to be starting Tuesday for delivery Wednesday, and most likely a little bit even further out, just to give you guys a little bit of warning, because last week there was so many delays because of all the different ice storms in all the different regions that we pretty much were like, no, we're not going to be doing a ton of shipping. So there's like a big old backlog that we have to clear out coming Monday. So long story short, shipping is going to be delayed just a little bit. And it's probably a good thing because it'll give UPS a little bit of time also to kind of like clear out their backlog of whatever delayed packages and stuff like that. So there's that. I will mention that a couple more times during the show. And before I forget, let's go and say our thank yous to the YouTube members and the Patreon folks. So Jen Coop 3.8, Jim Varnon, Hal Scott 328 Reef, Deidre Zuener, 2 Please Coral Reefs, and the Patreon folks. Longer list: Bill Russell, Brandy Camp, Christopher Frame, Jeremy Altman, Joseph Debo, Alan Jackson, Chuck Admire, Ernest Wallace Jr., Gene A. Van Vorst, Greg Zimmerman, Gwen Nicodemus, Harkins Aquatics, Keith Singer, Kevin Cortez, Lisa Clow, Puddle Aquatics, Reef Infidel, Rico's Aquariums, Rigoberto Rodriguez, Ryan Kern, Santa Nomine, Scotty D, Skylar Korn, The Classroom Reef, Thomas Tarrant, Trevor Joseph Overbeck, Rebecca Hull, and Tim Garner. So thank you all so much. All right. Let's take a look at this chat. Let's pop out the chat. So like I said, I got Nathan in the house, I got Jonathan, I got Jen, and I got Sean Paul. And yes, every one of us has a tank of some sort and all kinds of different expertise. So let's see. We get caught up on some of the chats.
I didn't get my YouTube notification.
No YouTube notifications.
Or it's not 2 o'clock yet. Or is it supposed to notify me?
I don't know. So real quick chat. Did you guys get the YouTube notifications, or is that?
I may have lied. I think I just swiped it aside.
This dude.
It was like Tidal Gardens.
Yeah. It's like I never watched his videos.
Swipe.
Okay, D the Hideaway. If you only had money for one of the sales, which would be best? Today's live sale, the Reef to Reef sale, or March's live sale? Okay, so right off the bat, I can exclude March's live sale because it doesn't exist yet. So definitely not March's. So the big difference between today's live sale and the Reef to Reef live sale is that today's you're going to see like live video of the corals. The Reef to Reef one is a much bigger show. There's a lot more corals, but you're talking about like one image. So it just kind of like depends on like how familiar you are with the corals. Pricing, maybe similar.
Yeah, both pretty well. I mean, there's awesome coral in both of them for good sale prices.
Yeah, and
Luke really mixed it up, so it's really good.
Yeah, because I'm stumbling because it's like I didn't do any pricing. I don't know.
Honestly, I couldn't pick one. If there's awesome stuff in both of them.
Yeah,
which sounds crazy, but
since you're here,
it is, though. It's so fun to see setup.
yeah, like since you're here, I would say today's live show.
yeah.
That mug looks huge. Yeah, it's a French press that I've repurposed. Since discovering espresso, French press just didn't seem good enough anymore. Okay, so yeah, they got notifications, Nathan.
Okay, I lied.
Typical. All right, so let's see. Somebody was asking, has anyone ever tried Red X by Fauna Marine? Red X.
I have not. Is that like a cyano
So,
treatment?
it sounds like it would be a cyano treatment.
Yeah, I've only done the red slime remover as far as like cyano treatments.
Yeah, the thing with Fauna Marine in general is that since it comes from Germany, oftentimes it like runs into like import issues. So even like the pellets and stuff like that, sometimes it could go like months with like low supply and stuff like that, just because they can't get it like FDA cleared by the whole importing of like German foodstuffs or whatever.
Right.
So Fauna Marine in the States isn't so much of like a well-known brand, I guess. And it's more of an issue just because it's like liquids and foods and stuff like that. Whereas like you can bring over like Tunzi pumps and Red Dragon skimmers and stuff like that, or Royal Exclusive whatever skimmers, but because it doesn't have to do like some kind of FDA screening. So unfortunately, like a lot of folks might not have a ton of experience, but then again, I'm kind of assuming that you're in the US, which many of you I'm sure are not. Yeah, stand back at it again with the French press. Yeah. gotta hydrate, guys. Gotta stay hydrated.
Right, you have to hydrate to stay great.
Or if you have kidney stones.
Being a grown-up is fun.
Yeah, so for every coffee I drink, I have to drink like 3 cups of water or something like that. Let's see. I really wish you were based in the UK and were my LFS. So Swarf, I can say, why don't you hit up Charterhouse Aquatics, because that's who my friend supplies. So hook them up with your business. Like they've got good stuff. All right, got 2 minutes left, and then the corrals will start. So I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but lately here it's been totally nutty with the weather. Like we've gotten pretty much all the snow for the entire winter in the past like few days here. And it is not that fun, because at the same time that this happened, my snow thrower died, meaning that I had to like pay my friend to like plow my driveway. And then this one time, like it was so snowy and so busy that he said he's going to show up at 4:30 in the afternoon. And I wanted to quickly get out there and like sprinkle snow melt down so that when I did get my snow thrower back from repair, I can then clear it myself. Because like with ice and snow throwing, it's bad, right? So I needed to melt this ice. So I needed him to come in, basically scrape down all that ice, and then right afterwards, I wanted to get out there with the snow melt. He does not come at 4:30. He ends up coming at 2:30 a.m. Meaning by like 3 o'clock, I am out there spreading snow melt. And boy, let me tell you, that derails your whole week when you're dealing with that kind of like sleep deprivation. And so yeah, I've had to go out there and do a couple rounds of snow throwing, and
It's so nice for us to come in, though. I mean,
yeah.
walk right in.
So,
and-
but before I had employees, none of this would ever get done, because it's like, I don't care if my driveway has snow on it.
You even made like a nice little path by our car. It's so lovely.
Yeah, exactly. But if I want my people to come work,
He knows where they are.
Right.
I'm out there at 6 a.m. with a snow thrower, like 5 layers of down clothing. Awesome.
I'm going to take the first turn next to Than because I don't want to be the person that replaces Jen and makes everybody upset.
That's my
Yeah.
Strategy. Sorry.
Yeah, because the rest of the guys are
going
gonna
to
be
be
like,
the one to replace Jen.
all right,
Everyone's going to be all disappointed.
good timing, good timing. We'll start.
So where am I supposed to look when I talk?
You can look directly at that creepy thing,
The camera?
at that camera,
Soulless camera?
or you could creepily look past it at Jen.
Yeah.
and always be looking a little bit off center.
Uncomfortable eye contact the whole time.
Oh man, yeah, same in Chicago. Yeah, just cleaned my driveway. It's not too bad in New York. That's good. That's good. So a couple of the folks in Texas were like, yeah, the package that you sent us never got delivered, and when we checked the tracking, it like went into a black hole. Like UPS just said, no, we don't know what the heck you're talking about. What package? It's just gone. So yeah, I mean, last week was just one of those weeks where it's like, no, we're not going to go ahead and risk anything else anymore. Luckily, I think that this coming week is supposed to be quite a bit nicer. Normal weather in Colorado, Orlando, New Orleans. Yeah, good.
Did you ship anything to Texas?
Couple things.
Did they disappear?
Yeah, that's us.
Oh, that was
yeah,
Texas.
that was Texas. Yeah, total black hole. Which, by the way, is kind of uncommon for UPS. We've had our issues with FedEx in the past, but never so much with UPS. And yeah, so I mean, things must be like really going down over there if like UPS is messing up. Oh man. So let's see, how many corals are we doing today? I think we're doing like about 250 or so corals. And the show will go on for a little less than 3 hours, I would say. So just before 5 p.m. Eastern, we'll be wrapping stuff up here, unless there's like some, tailing questions that we'll handle. Yeah, so Josh Noodleman is saying that we got 38 inches of snow last month. Normal is 36 for the whole year. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, I like the winter, but I don't like the snow, if that makes any sense at all. It just needs to stay off the roads and off my driveway.
Not a fan of any of the cold weather nonsense.
See, I love it all.
Yeah, I'm a summer person. I want the humidity.
You're nuts.
The greenhouse is perfect for you then. Yeah.
I changed. Like, I used to like the summer. Like, when I was like a lot younger, I used to like the summer. And then nowadays, I really like the winter. I really do. So the thing about the summer that always bothered me is like the actual heat bothers me. The mosquitoes bother me. The mowing the grass bothers me. Like, those three things right there are like, oh, and like the lack of summertime sales also bothers me. So compare that to the winter. I just need to dress more warmly. And it turns out that they make technology for this.
And you have this nice new big building to hang out in and not have to mow grass. And
True.
Right.
And there's
Yeah,
no
that helps.
mosquitoes or anything like that. And I get the fatty sales. It's like, you know what? This is like the best time of year. I'll never miss summer. Let's see. Okay. Cotty's Reef. Cotty's Reef. Any tips to try and get rid of Montipore eating nudibranchs? Jonathan, what you got?
If you can get them all out and dip them in successions in a couple different week, periods, that's the way to go. I mean, you could stick a wrasse in there, and you can stick certain things naturally that'll keep them at bay, but they're a mean little bugger.
I mean, you're really asking about like one of the most difficult things to
very
remove.
much
Like,
so.
Yeah,
nudibranchs are tough. Montipore eating nudibranchs are probably the toughest, and they do like legitimately the most damage.
Yeah.
We did have a friend who had Monty eating nudies in his tank, and he was able to successfully get rid of them with the purge treatment. That's the acro eating flatworm treatment. But
So he stumbled upon that
Yeah.
actually. So he had acro eating flatworms bad, and
Yeah.
he knew he had Monty nudies as well, but wasn't too worried about it. So he treated for the acro-eating flatworms, and surprisingly, that medication knocked him out.
Using a product called Purge.
Yes.
Correct. Now they make Vibrant. It's I forget the company's actual name.
I know, it's something you really need to pay attention to your alkalinity levels though, because when you're doing that treatment, your coral aren't really growing at the same rate, so your alk levels just change wildly. You have to test a
It's
lot.
a very scary treatment that I wouldn't tell anyone to use all the time.
If you don't feel like you are at expert level, it might not be an in-tank treatment for you until you do a mountain of homework. Just do your reading, do your diligence.
And so we've never used that here, but it's called Purge.
Yes. Yeah, the same guys that make Vibrant, they make that.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other option for the Montipore eating nudies is to make frags of the ones you really like and chuck all the other and dip the frags, and depending on what your tank situation is.
So what do you dip in?
As like a normal dip for new corals is a bear insect killer.
Yeah, which is not called bio-advanced, so it wouldn't be sold under Bayer anymore.
Oh, they dropped it. Okay, bio.
Yeah, it's called bio-advanced.
I just noticed that. I was using it in the greenhouse, and I looked at the bottle because I used it all, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't even say Bayer anymore. It says bio-advanced. I'm like, I wonder if this is the exact same.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
Because there was like some acquisition stuff that had gone on, and so they changed some labeling. Okay, for the folks out there that have never tried like the Bayer bio-advanced all-in-one insect killer thingy, you got to be really careful with that stuff. Like when you're dipping stuff, are you like wearing gloves and stuff?
Oh yeah,
good.
Actually, double gloves.
Okay, good.
I wear regular tight-fitting gloves with a rubber band, and then I'll wear dish gloves over them.
Okay, because sometimes like I'm a total cowboy about it, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead just to dip this just quickly. I just don't really care. You feel it. Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
like
that stuff is not gentle on your hands.
It's not just like it's like I feel it in my nerves. Like it's like some kind of weird neurotoxin. Like you're not supposed to.
It's a nerve agent.
Yeah, you're not supposed to like touch this stuff. You're not supposed to be breathing this stuff in.
I believe the way it works on invertebrates is that it paralyzes their nervous system.
Yeah, I can totally feel it. Yeah. It's like I should definitely never do that again. So if you are going to be messing with like the hard stuff like the Bayer, which by the way, I did learn that you cannot get that in the EU. Like they won't even let you import it because it's too real.
Yeah, and it's
too real for the EU.
How bad they want to try it there in the EU, because I know a couple people and they're like, "Hey, is there any way you can somehow send this to me?" I'm like,
not
no
legally.
Way. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, rinse after you use Bayer also.
Absolutely.
You want to rinse it in fresh salt water a couple of times because inverts, I feel like shrimp especially are really sensitive to it.
Right? But I've seen attracted to it too.
Yeah, and you'd be surprised. Your peppermints
I lost a
shrimps
coral banded shrimp that was part of a pair because I dipped frog spawn in it and I didn't rinse it enough. And then next thing I knew, that shrimp was all over the frog spawn after I put it back in the tank.
Yeah.
And it was gone within a day. The shrimp was. But the Bayer also has a waterproof component to it, so it takes a little extra rinsing to get it and any mucus that's kind of clinged onto it. So extra rinsing, and I've never had a problem, but you need to be aware of that.
Right, like you might even want a turkey baste in the rinse water just to really make sure.
Yep.
And the thing is, like Bayer does work nicely, but even then it doesn't kill the eggs or anything like that. So you have to do like a double or triple round, like after like 5 days or so, just to try to like interrupt the entire life cycle of the nudibranchs. It's a pain.
Right.
It's a real pain.
Yeah. Otherwise, you may just have to go Monty less for up to a year, I think, because those guys can kind of creep around in your rocks for a while if there's even like a polyp left.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, especially with the nudibranchs, is that they are perfectly okay going on vacation and just like hanging out somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like they don't just have to stay on the coral that they're eating. So they have no problem with just being around.
Well, those will go after an acropora and certain certain other things that are, I guess, species adjacent.
So you're saying if you get them, just take your tank down?
Yeah, bleach it. It's fine. No, but I mean, just if you can, like you were saying, get frags of the ones that you really love, put them in a separate system.
Go fallow for a little bit.
Right. Go fallow, then.
I wonder if it would work if you got all the Monties out and then put just a Monty that you didn't care too much about, like just in the middle, easily removable.
Bait.
Yeah, bait them. Do that a few times.
I wonder if you would have to redo your rock work, though.
To disrupt the...
Yeah.
Or if they'd smell it and go after it.
Well, here's the other thing that's kind of like why you probably don't have to overthink it too much, is because most people only really have like 2 or 3 Monties to dip, whereas it's not like a giant coral farm where it could be hiding in like that 1,000th gallon of whatever way off in the corner that you just simply can't pay attention to everything. Like, I think in smaller tanks, if you really just dote on these things, that will go a really long way.
Right, and wrasse really do help keep them at manageable levels.
Yeah. Melanarises and leopards are my favorite.
Yeah, banana wrasse will go after them too, but those guys are so mean.
And they're jumpers too.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of wrasses, I recently picked up what was labeled as a 12-line wrasse, but I think it's also known as a 4-line wrasse because they count.
Yeah, I've never heard of a 12-line, but I've heard of a 4-line.
Yeah, I think they just count the different stripes, multicolored. But anyways, I put him in my display tank last week, and it's not been really aggressive, but the yellowtail tamarin wrasse I have has chased him. Chased the 12-line wrasse or 4-line wrasse.
In your big tank.
Yes, but the 4-line wrasse was better at really staying close to the rockwork, getting in and under corals and stuff. And I haven't like thought there was a death struggle going on, but I was a little interested that the yellowtail tamarin was chasing him because I want to get the blue striped tamarin wrasse or the feminist wrasse, and I was like, uh-oh, if that yellowtail wrasse starts chasing
that type of wrasse,
feminist wrasse, it's like,
a little closer.
Yeah, that's a lot of issue. So we'll see what happens. But.
By the way, thank you so much, Ernie Wallace, for the $5 super chat. Bonus bucks for Tidal Gardens. Appreciate it. I should have got to that way sooner. Sorry about that, Ernie. Okay, so we covered what fish, because somebody was asking, so Marcus Aurelius was asking what fish eats them, I forget. Yeah, like again, wrasses of that sort. My all-time favorite is going to be, what do you call it? Melanaris, because they are the most likely to stay in the water.
Yeah.
Them and leopards.
Yeah, Melanaris don't really need a sand bed either, so they'll do fine in a bare bottom tank.
Let's see, David Wildcat fan. Where are you all located? Would love to visit. Ooh, right now we're not actually having in-person visits for customers. However, we are located in Copley, Ohio, and hopefully sometime in the future we can start taking appointments again. Peter T, thank you for the $10 Canadian. Can't buy any corals, but here to support you guys. I sometimes reply to live streams during the work week. Ha ha ha. Thank you, Peter. Let's see. Yeah, when it comes to like pests and stuff like that, I am so glad that I have just like extra hands now that we can just be so much more proactive about trying to like just deal with stuff before it gets like into like crazy plague proportions. And it's so much more difficult to do it on like a commercial scale than a home system. So I've kind of like not done the hobbyist thing in a while until I started to mess with my SPS tank downstairs. So if you saw my ugly phase video somewhat recently, about maybe a month ago, that was probably the worst hair algae that I ever had to deal with in like a 600 gallon tank. But even that, most of that algae is gone now, and all I can think is like, you know what? It's really just not that bad. And I just know that most people have like much smaller aquariums. So like a lot of the problems that we talk about, I think that like we tend to, when we talk about them, we blow it out of proportion slightly because we're dealing with mega giant tanks to the point where a 600 gallon tank seems manageable. So I'm just thinking if somebody with like a 60 gallon tank, you should be able to get in there with a toothbrush, and you should be your own RAS at that point to scrub off every single one of those things.
Did I hear you had a custom toothbrush / hose system?
Yes.
He did. I totally told on you.
Oh,
Sorry.
Okay. So.
Oh yeah.
All I had was like, let's say this is my little toothbrush here.
Mm-hmm.
I basically just had like a siphon hose just like right along it, and I zip tied it multiple times. So essentially, as I'm siphoning, I can just be like gently like scrubbing the rocks. So I guess some people are really paranoid about like spreading the whatever. I'm less concerned about that, but I want to still use that algae as like a nutrient removal tool. And any kind of like any water that's getting sucked out, just using it as like, again, just as a means to get nutrient out. And if it happens to like polish the rock while we're at it, great. Because once you also get rid of like a lot of that thicker hair, that allows the other herbivores like snails and the fish to really get in there, because the fish don't really want to deal with like 3-inch long things of hair algae. But if it's just like a thin, like a very short mat, they have no problems grazing on that. So as long as you can just kind of like tamp all that stuff down, and also letting coralline grow and outcompete some of that stuff, it goes like a really long way. But it didn't even take that many rounds of toothbrushing. Like, it was manageable.
I don't see it in the comments, but I'm pretty sure what the audience is wondering is if you guys got any video of him in the tank with his in his vest with his sleeves rolled up and like his dress pants rolled up,
rolled up pants.
I think Becca
Tom
was
Sawyer
sneaking
era
around.
type.
Yeah. Becca may have.
Yeah, we have to hunt that down.
It was more casual than though. It was like the snow boots.
The ski outfit.
Everyday snowboard outfit. Okay, somebody's asking, do you sell inverts, fish, and coral? We don't sell fish. So until very recently, I have been absolutely terrible at even just keeping fish. So perhaps Jen can talk more about this, but until I hired a Jen, like fish were a pretty bad situation here, because we didn't really have good quarantine facilities or anything like that. Now we have somewhat decent ones.
Our system's great.
Excuse me. I was just thinking like bigger and better, more better. There's always room for improvement, right?
Yeah.
But no, like the fact that we were able to quarantine everything and like stuff didn't die was kind of a revelation. So for us to then go into selling these things, it's like, no. Never, ever.
It's a lot getting into selling fish.
It's a whole different.
Yeah, people don't seem to understand like how rough they come in.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's bad.
Starved and they really do.
It's really its own business entirely.
Correct.
Like apart from coral farming.
Yeah.
Runs off to patent the toothbrush siphon. You can also do it with the scraper, like getting like those like the scraper, like the metal scraper on the handle.
Yeah, it's perfect for like film.
I'm not gonna lie, this concept has blown my mind, and I'm not sure how I've not come up with this plan on my
Drawing up
own.
designs over there.
But I'm literally pumped to go home and toothbrush siphon. My best day of my life is coming up, guys.
Seriously, like I think sometimes like when people are doing like water changes and stuff, I think they're focused too much on the just extracting water, and making up new water, and that's it. Where they really should be using that water as a vehicle to get all your detritus, like all like the little nooks and crannies, like polished
Absolutely.
up. And it'll make it like a more interesting experience. And when you're done, it's like things are polished looking. Like you took out the absolute worst concentration of everything bad in your tank, and then you're replenishing with newly made salt water. So, yeah.
Sounds like kind of corny, but I always feel like I deserve my tank every time I do a big project like that. You know what I mean? Like, yes, these pretty things are worth it, and now, you know, I put in the effort.
You know, there's like this phrase or saying in like the reef aquarium hobby of just like keep your hands out of your tank. You know, I hear that a lot. And at least in the coral farming realm, like it's the exact opposite is true. So like the more we can like be in the water, touching our corals, the better. And this is, again, going back to like having extra sets of hands is super helpful. Like Jen, for example, like if she sees anything remotely suspicious looking, not only is she going to take that coral out and clean it, but she's also probably going to propagate it right then and there to see if there's anything going on in the skeleton. So we went from potentially, let's say, losing a blastomussa, because blastomussas get like weird
They have
infections.
the grossest skeletons.
Yeah, the
of
real
any
porous.
Yeah.
eel.
All kinds of stuff can happen. And these are like, you know, fresh things that we've grown, and it'll have like, you know, 20 heads, and all of a sudden it just will start to like decay from the inside or something. But because she's able to get in there and proactively just cut this thing up, not only did she save a blastomussa, but now we have like 4 of them. So it's like the best of all worlds, you know?
Right, and time, because if that was sitting there, just say you had an aptasia on the side that was slowly burning away at one of them, it could be 2 months until that died away, and it just wasted 2 months of time of that sitting there.
Yeah.
You know, you're gaining time.
Preventative medicine goes a long way in your fish tank and with your corals.
Yeah. So now I'm all about like if I see anything remotely suspicious looking, I'm like, Jen, what do you think about this guy right here? It's like has he been acting like that for like more than 24 hours?
Well, right, because that's the other thing too. Sometimes if there's just one day that it's a little wonky, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
But right there,
2 or 3.
right, then you know there's an issue. It's closed for a reason if it's closed for multiple days.
Yeah. And in the past, we might have been like, maybe it'll perk back up. And in reality, it's not going to perk back up. There's something wrong. You have to address it. And that's been like a huge like game changer here. So like if anything, I would like be recommending people like, you know what, be a little bit more proactive on stuff. If something is looking shady, assume something's wrong.
There's good actions and bad actions when putting your hands in the tank all the time. If you're rearranging rock work or stuff like that constantly, or disrupting things just to change things, that's the problem. But if you see issues and you're taking care of it,
right,
or just regular maintenance of your tank, those are the good actions to be involved with your tank.
Yeah. Like in our case, it's usually driven by something looking suspicious. Like for example, like next door in the greenhouse, we have this like really awesome, like very large elegance coral that's got like this blue marbled base, yellow polyps, like yellow tips and everything. And it's been looking great for a long time. The last few days, it's been a little bit more closed than normal. And eventually it does open up during the day. I think most people would be like, oh, it's well enough, leave well enough alone. But I'm pretty sure there's actually something wrong.
Yeah, he's on our dip list for Monday.
Yeah.
We already found a couple of projects.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, like when Jen and Jonathan are here for like, you know, hanging out for like the live show and stuff, we always just say, look, you're not allowed to work, okay? You're like guests here today.
I saw Jonathan working.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was doing, but he was doing things.
And I know Jen's hand was in the tank too.
Yeah, I saw an aptasia on a coral that I couldn't let wait until Monday, so I got him.
That's what we like to do. Care for the coral.
Right.
It's hard to not, right?
Right. Yeah.
There was a question a little while back. Luca, he asked, he has a 15-gallon QT tank with a 1-inch yellowtail, a cleaner wrasse, a small Banggai cardinal, and a firefish, and he has a sponge filter and a power head in there. Your bio load is a little heavy for that size tank, so I would just do water changes a little more often, just because sponge filters don't really take much out. So as long as you get in there probably every other day and do a 25 to 50% water change, you should be fine.
Yeah, the 15-gallon QT. So I always struggle with the entire concept of QT because I always thought that it would just be better to get the animal into my aquarium because of how much worse my actual QT setup was. But that's like now I know that's like A, way too much of a risk, and B, it's like a QT setup doesn't have to be super duper elaborate.
No, not at all. I think the simpler setups are better, actually.
Yeah. That was something that I just mentally struggled with. Now, do you think that a 15-gallon is a little too small for like in general, or?
No, we actually we have a 10-gallon at home that we use for smaller fish, and I think it's fine as long as you're not trying to put like a tang or something in there. But the fish that you have, since they're all essentially nano fish anyway, I don't see a problem with that size of tank.
Yeah, cleaner wrasse, banggai, firefish.
Right. It's just the sponge filter that is the part that you're not really taking anything out. So you just want to do water changes to make sure your ammonia levels don't rise too much.
Right. And then we also had suggested in the quarantine video, I don't know if you've ever seen that, but there are those little like...
The badges, the ammonia alert badge, it's a fantastic product. It's like $9 and it's so worth it.
Yeah, something to check out, certainly. Colin says, I just did a water change and got every bit of crap out, even siphoned the sump. The sump is like super rewarding, isn't it? Like satisfying. So Jonathan actually cleaned out our quarantine systems just recently. And like those sumps are disgusting.
They were, and now I love just walking by and look at them. It is very satisfying.
That's like, you know, for an experienced reefer, is there anything like that's more of a flex than having like a pristine looking sump? Like if I go to somebody's house, that's right? True, that's and so true. Like if your sump is like spectacular, that's like somebody like cleaning the very back of their toilet, you know, where like
you're showing off that's the truth. And we were just over Sean's house a couple weeks ago, and he's like, you know what? He goes, I want to make my sump a show sump. He's like, I want it to look cool when you open it up down there and have it, you know, all the bells and whistles are down there and it's clean and
I want my wires managed.
Yeah.
I just think a sump should be sexy. That's all I'm saying. Because I'm at that level of reef keeping.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Like a super clean, polished looking sump.
Well, Sean just got a couple of new reactors, and they do look pretty sexy in that.
They are gorgeous.
So,
you know, it's bad because like show tanks. I mean, I've seen it all, right?
Yeah.
It's like some pretty,
see your sump.
Pretty collection of corals. Yeah, show me the sump.
Yeah, open up the hood. Let's see it.
And if that thing is like this sparkling gem of a sump that looks like it got cleaned like 45 minutes before you showed up, I'm like, damn. That's what it's about, right there.
Although if you're coming over, that's definitely the case.
Yeah, that happened already.
45 minutes ago.
And 2 days before.
All right, somebody else is turning the chair. I'm going to check on my kids.
Oh, I just got.
You go. There are
it's my
QT
turn.
questions, so.
Okay, VBN. Hi, Than. I got my first coral a couple weeks ago thanks to your videos. I've now got a Duncan, a green pelly, and a Zoa. Nice. It's a good start. Definitely a good start. Red legs and blue leg hermits, will they get along in the same aquarium?
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
We don't do crabs here.
Yeah, hermits, usually when you
can talk through this line.
Oh, sorry. Usually when you get the blue leg hermits in, they tend to be a lot smaller. The red legs are usually a fair amount bigger. Those guys normally come in like seraph snail shells. So they'll get into slightly different areas. As long as you have enough extra shells for everybody, they'll be fine.
And I always thought that the red legs tended to be less aggressive and more herbivorous than the blue-legged ones.
That's funny. I used to think the opposite.
Really?
I think the opposite as well.
Like the scarlet ones with like the yellow face?
Oh,
yellow
the
face?
scarlets are fantastic. And those guys are, they're a lot friendlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, the normal red legs.
Is it just like a blue leg?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but just a little maroon or red,
Interesting.
Yeah.
But those scarlets are nice. And they're beautiful.
I used to have one that was like no joke, like 15 years old or something. It had it forever.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a blue knuckle hermit that, I mean, is not nearly that old, probably 3 or 4 years old, but he's huge. We have to probably Amazon him a new shell.
Yeah, we do need to do that
big.
soon. Actually, we rehomed him from a friend, and he's massive.
Yeah,
But
he's in a
he's
big
a nice
old
guy.
turbo shell right now.
Climbs over everything.
I just don't trust these crabs though.
Well, he lives in our acro tank, so it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, crabs, no.
Crabs can definitely be shifty, but I will say they are a great part of a cleanup crew.
Yeah.
Like, I think they really do belong in the mix.
They're good for hair algae. I think they're really strong for hair algae. Yeah.
I have a hair algae problem.
Not anymore. You got in there with the toothbrush.
That's true. Like I am the crab now. Yes. Okay. Somebody else is asking: is there a best pod to keep in a soft coral tank with zoas that they might eat, or are they all the same? So like feeding pods for soft corals and zoas? Am I reading that correctly?
Well, there are types of pods, and Jen, what are the ones that you like to keep in the tank that definitely repopulate?
I normally like the Tigger pods.
Right.
I don't remember the
But to actually feed the
species. Reef Nutrition has a product called Arctopods, and it is just copepods, but they're not live, and they're little bottles that you can keep in the fridge, and that would probably be your best option for feeding the coral. If you want live pods that are going to repopulate, I really do like the Tigger pods. I think they populate the fastest, and they're hardy. The Apos, there's another one, it's like Apocyclops or something, and those guys have been on the market a lot recently, but they live in the water column and they don't reproduce as readily. Those guys would just be eaten pretty much right when you put them in.
One of these days, we need to set up a phytoplankton and like rotifer and zooplankton culture. We can just add that to the long list of projects that won't get done here.
Yeah, we've grown all of that stuff before.
We were actually talking about the other day. We should just do that. Just have it by a window.
We should just have it, but at the same time, it's like
it's like there's other projects with bigger things. And
again, it's like this is how it works here. Okay, there's like a dozen projects on the list. You need to choose 10 of them, and those won't get done.
Yeah,
like
right.
It's pretty much like, you know what? And so whenever like my mom says, "Hey, can we do such and such?" So I'm like, that would be like number 50 on our list, and guaranteed that won't get done. Guaranteed it's not getting done. Yeah.
Yeah, if we ever grow like brine or pods or something, then we could grow phyto to feed to them too. So I don't.
And we're just a little behind the scenes talk. We're thinking about doing like a seahorse tank, and I was wondering if it ever makes sense to like grow our own things with like the seahorses, or it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter since we won't be breeding them.
Right. Okay.
Because all they eat is mysis, and they're fine with frozen since we'll be getting captive bred.
We're getting all bronies.
We are, yeah.
I knew a brony once.
Speaking of seahorses and stuff like that, Lanito asked, have you ever carried or considered carrying sponges, especially of the photosynthetic variety?
We've never had success keeping sponges here.
Some of the photosynthetic ones, like the plating purple one, is pretty easy to keep, but that is one that can take over.
Pretty invasive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So put it in an area that you can kind of.
Yeah, like speaking of the seahorses, like you'd almost have to have a macro or a sponge tank where you kind of just want to let them all go. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're finicky.
Yeah, and if there's one type of like fingered sponge or tree sponge that is actually a little hardier, I think, and it has a smoother appearance. The ones that are a bit knobblier don't tend to survive long term as well.
The only ones that survive well for us are like the dirt gray ones that take over everything and kill off all the corals.
Well, yeah, we don't want any chicken liver sponge. That stuff's ugly.
That, and like how people say, like if you take a sponge out of the water, it dies. No, only the ones that you like.
Yeah,
no,
correct.
We had a little bit of that stuff on our rock work, and we ended up redoing our entire tank's rock work because of it.
Because I've like the really nasty sponges. I've taken those things out of the tank, and run them under like hot water under the faucet.
I soaked the rock in peroxide, and then I put it in the shower with a scrub brush.
They don't care.
And that crap grew
It
back.
grew back better.
Yeah, it was happy about it.
Yeah, you just killed off all its competitors. That's all that
Yes.
happened.
Oh, that sucked. I was so mad. That's why we have new rock now.
Ugh. Let's see. Hermits will eventually fight it out. There's a couple of gangsters left in the tank. All right. Let's see. Okay. Oh, Taylor Jones. We kind of touched on your topic, but I have a major hair algae problem in my nano. Not sure how to manage it. It is you and a toothbrush. That is how you manage it.
Yeah, if you can manually remove any of the really long stuff, then your cleanup crew will get to it a bit easier.
It's a nano. You're the cleanup crew. Get in there. It's serious. Like that's serious. I cleaned a 600-gallon tank with a hair algae problem. You can do this. I have faith. I have faith. Unless you're like a quadriplegic, then I'm sorry. I'm wrong. So that'll be like my luck. Everybody here's like dying laughing. It's like they just don't want to.
Who says that? I will say, I actually, when I was moving, I was having a green hair algae outbreak that I could not contain in my reef, and tearing it down and starting fresh was the best thing I did, because I battled it for how long? 6 months?
Yeah, all your live rock would just kept leaching.
And it just kept leaching phosphates, and there was just no chance that I was going to get ahead, and sometimes a teardown has to happen.
Yeah, if you were able to take out small pieces of the aquascape, yeah, that's a really easy way to handle it.
We did in our tank. It's a 90-gallon tank, and we had like essentially 3 separate rock structures, and we just did one section at a time. And so that way it didn't upset the balance of the tank, and we were able to kind of soak the rocks and let them do their thing before we got to it.
Yeah,
because that helps too. So if you're going to replace the rocks, you don't want to start another problem by putting fresh rocks in there.
True. Also, when you take rocks out, thoroughly check to make sure that your prized inverts or some fish didn't jump in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
shrimp like the hide.
Exactly. Pat's asking about electric
flame scallops.
Oh, I love those.
I've never owned one.
They're so cool. We had one for a little, probably about a year.
What do they eat?
They're filter feeders.
Right.
So
what are they filtering?
So we liked it so much, we started actually feeding it kind of like Phyto and the dirt in the tank, and it was doing great. But we kept it in our SPS tank, and I started testing, and our nutrients started going crazy. Right. So I started dialing back on it because SPS were kind of more important to us, unfortunately. And he kind of just slowly dwindled away, which if you can keep it stable and feed them like a Phyto or a nice food that they can actually intake, like a real fine, like Benepets even.
Ours did really well with Benepets. I think if you could keep it in a higher nutrient system, like you're saying, that'll help a lot.
With the Benepets, would you spot feed, or if you just put it in the water column, is that enough for it?
For something like a scallop, I would spot feed. Okay. Most coral, putting it in the water column is fine, but you'll see such better results if you.
I remember you used to do it, and he would just he'd shut and like you'd see it squirt. It was cool.
Yep.
I always thought that when I was trying to like spot feed something like a scallop, it always seemed like I'm just aggravating it and like accelerating its demise by stressing it out. I always got that feeling.
Scallops react so weirdly. That's why they're very fast.
We can try another flame scallop thingy in the future, I think. Just because like we have like 2,000, 2,500 gallon systems here. I don't think we can pollute that thing, so we can just slam that.
Yeah,
if we ever did like a display refugium, it'd be cool to do scallops in because they're filter feeders anyway. Some people that get really out there with their filtration use scallops as part of it, just not the pretty ones.
I can't wait to get home and spot feed my corals.
It's so
You're like,
fun.
you know what? I need to do that today. Actually, that's on the agenda.
We started doing like the syringes from the test kits, we use those to spot feed the coral now, so you could do such small amounts.
I have one of the big
Long.
turkey basters that I think Kent or somebody who made the variety package, and I bought one.
It is a turkey baster.
I feel
It
like
is the big one.
for your tank, you need that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Right.
The syringe, I'm up to my.
You'd be there with snorkel on and all day long.
Well, I spot feed the with Benepets and some like oyster feast and stuff in the. I just fog the whole frag tank.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take that long to clear it out. Actually, I don't turn the return pumps off.
Yeah.
But I mean, I really feed that, and then just the cloud of food that I dump into the display tank. I'm like, good luck, out corals. You get plenty of fish poo in there, you know. So
Right.
and other foods, and
The best thing that we've done, like with the system designed downstairs, is the ability to shut off all the flow entirely and just dump food directly on the corals and just let them just settle and eat at their own speed.
I've tried that once or twice, but then when I start the I don't shut off a valve, I shut off the return pump.
Okay.
But then once I turn the return pump on, then I feel like the flow through the drains is off a little bit, and then I have to adjust the drains to stop the noise or the gurgling, you know, and get it all back to the way it was. Because it's pretty quiet, but then like once I do the restart, for me it's
Interesting.
you would think it's the same thing, same
Yeah.
volume of water. You just turn it off, then you turn it back on, but it causes a headache to the point where I'm like, I'm just gonna fog this tank, and
I will say
I'll turn off I'll turn off the closed loop in there, but it's still pretty good flow. I realized.
I try to do a mix of both. So I spot feed every other day, and then I just pour it into the water column the off day. And everyone seems really happy with that plan, but it's probably because I'm lazy and don't want to spot feed daily. So
The other thing that I was just thinking, as far as like a long distance spot feeder, I just remember from like chemistry lab way back in the 90s.
The pipette.
It was like a pipette, but it has a wheel where your thumb is.
Oh yeah.
And so like it's like a precision.
Yeah, just
thing.
a little.
Well, now I want one.
We need to like hit up the scientific supply thing, or Amazon.
Right, I was going to say. Amazon is everything.
Yeah, and find like the long syringe with the.
Okay, Sean's trying to look
Sean
it up,
Paul's
you
all
guys.
over.
But I will find a local source to get it from, guys. So.
Sean Paul is like big into the helping out the local economy thing,
Right.
which is.
Well, I'm a small business owner. I have to be.
When they let him help.
Yeah.
Great story, guys. That's a good one. Then.
Yeah, we weren't letting him come here today.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow he made it. Somehow he made it.
I knew there was going to be tacos. You know.
Those are good.
They were.
If ever you are a guest here, if you somehow get past security somehow, life is pretty good. I gotta say.
Evelyn's a pretty tough security guard, you guys. I know.
Dude, people think
It's
I'm
her
joking.
coral.
Okay,
Oh,
look.
no.
My mom is the freaking CIA.
She is. I
Like,
love it.
she's not messing around. Like, she'll text me, it's like, I saw so-and-so on camera at 4:36. Something like that. She's like the
drum
eye of
is following
Sauron.
Oh, it's great.
I've got eyes on them.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
Mom is on it.
yeah, if somebody's like acting shady, like, yeah, she'll know like where this person lives, what their dog's name is. Like, just, yeah.
On here in the chat, Irish Knight asked Than, he just purchased some corals, and
Okay.
I'd like to delay the shipping a few days. What's the best method to contact you?
Support at tidalgardens.com.
Perfect.
And Ben will take care of you. And yes, by the way, so for the folks that missed the announcement right at the beginning of the show, likely the earliest stuff is going to be shipped out is Tuesday because of the backlog from all the shipping delays and stuff from the ice storms from last week. So if you need to have the shipping delayed even further, no problem. Just let us know. You can go ahead and email us. Let's see. A micropipette. That's what they're calling the gadget that I was talking about. Yeah. Micropipette. I'm trying to like get caught back up here. So Eco Marines, Laura says a sonic scrubber. So Eco Marines, that's my friend Laura in the UK. A sonic scrubber from Amazon is your friend for hair algae.
Oh, great. Thank you, Laura.
Oh, like an electric toothbrush? A sonic scrubber?
A sonic scrubber. Yeah, I was thinking, is that the same thing as an electric toothbrush? I've also seen people use like a water pick.
Okay.
I've heard of that too.
Yeah. So I've never used a water pick in my whole life because I don't
Pressure
like.
washer.
Yeah.
I
I've also hooked up my pressure washer. Clean the rocks well.
Interesting. You know, I'll tell you what. Like when we're scrubbing stuff with a toothbrush, it is remarkably effective.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I actually feel better about brushing my teeth knowing that of all the things that we could be like, because we have like, you know, different types of brushes and everything, different types of like sponge thingies, but a toothbrush is really, 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 really effective.
Yeah, it really is.
So
it's funny. Out of all the tools we have here, I use the toothbrush more than.
Oh, I use the
anything. It's
makeup
so
brush,
fun.
I think, the
You
most
do,
often.
yeah.
makeup brushes is good.
There's a makeup brush and there's a woodworking tool that's the best little, like...
Scraper.
Makeup brush is great for Zoas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, being soft on skirts.
Yeah.
And,
No,
Oh, Sean Paul just got another idea.
No, I'm just like, am I not cleaning my tank and rockwork well enough? Because I'm learning about all these new tools.
Makeup brushes are fantastic.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
Like super gentle.
Did you ever have a caboodle?
I still have my original caboodle,
I just thought
you guys.
of my sister's caboodles. I was like, you can have all your reefing tools in a caboodle. Makeup brushes,
Oh my
toothbrushes.
I have my original caboodle. It has all of my nail polish.
she does have it, and I was making fun of her about it. And then all of a sudden, both of us, we look at each other and we're like, we need to make a frag box.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my gosh, we could. And you could legit sell and have a little box that has all your little tools and all your little
Because it
glue.
has all
Yeah.
the perfect little... It's... Yeah.
I will say,
I'm pretty proud of my
Caboodle.
caboodle recall on that one.
I was insanely jealous of my sister's caboodle. And I think now is the time I get one.
They sell them at Target.
Oh, they're still out there.
This is going to be
So,
the day, guys. I have
because
that
I
gift
bought-
card.
yeah.
Told you it'd go off the rails a little bit.
Caboodle.
sometimes, Dan.
I have no idea what a caboodle is.
What?
It's
You
a
didn't have a
girly
sister.
toolbox. That's all
Oh,
it is.
okay.
It's a
a
fishing
toolbox
box
for
that's
girls.
pink.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
Or they had teal.
Okay.
Mine's pink and purple
Oh,
with
yeah.
lots of old teenage like nail polish tryout
Nice.
stripes on it.
But seriously, like if you came up with like the reef toolbox thing, it would literally be such diverse
We already
stuff.
have a name for it. Are you kidding? Yeah.
The reef caboodle.
No, it's a Fraggle box.
The Fraggle box.
Fraggle box? That's great.
Instead of a tackle box, it's your
TM, put the
Fraggle box.
trademark after that right now.
Yeah.
Well, no, because there's like you wouldn't find a normal collection of products that would include a makeup brush and a stainless steel wood carving tool and a toothbrush.
It's a specialty
And,
equipment.
yeah, it's like
collected.
All of the weird stuff that
And then
reefers
the-
actually use.
the micropipette thing and it's like all that stuff. It's
This
like
custom
The plastic
toothbrush
salad
siphon
tongs.
situation.
Coming this
Yeah.
Christmas.
Tidal garden.
It's like, what is this junk? No, it turns out this is like
Yeah.
the big brain third eye galaxy brain stuff all in one box. This is what you need.
What the pros really use.
I will buy one right now.
And it has to have the OXO Good Grips turkey baster because it's asymmetrical so it doesn't roll off of your Eurobrace.
Right.
I have
And
one
the
of those,
cheap
yeah.
elf makeup brushes because for whatever reason they're the best ones on the coral.
It's like, who knew? Who knew? Watch, like Ecotech is gonna like just put one of these things
Yeah,
out, like word for word. Oh man,
They're making notes right now.
you're scribbling the bulk supplies, like they're furiously taking notes.
I'm actually on a dating app, guys.
How is Xenia for shipping?
It's okay.
Yeah.
It used to be like more problematic than it is now for some reason. Before, it was always like a hit or miss thing shipping Xenia. And for whatever reason, like they just got over it and they ship fine now. I don't
I
understand.
wonder if it was just temperature fluctuation or something.
Maybe, but I mean, there was a time where people were talking about like they were shipping Xenia dry. They were shipping Xenia with just a little bit of like a little moist towel or something like
So
that.
like snails?
There was all this stuff about, you know, like, because you can't ship Xenia. And now we used to have it so like sometimes like Xenia would just melt occasionally.
Right.
But I would say like 90-something% of the time now, it is just any other coral. Like it's just not a big deal.
That's so bizarre.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more water is helpful. That's a genius concept. More water during shipping is helpful. But yeah, it seems
really
to work.
Is, though. I mean, any time we're shipping out pieces personally that, we're worried about, we always just go for
we
water.
double. Oh yeah, we'll pay for the water.
Right.
Speaking of shipping, okay, I don't know if any of you guys noticed, but right around November of last year, we did a special where we reduced our shipping from $39.99 to $29.99 as a special, and we just left it. So shipping is officially here now, a flat rate $29.99, and even at the start of 2021, all of the carriers bumped up their prices by 5%, and yet we maintained our low shipping price. And we were able to negotiate some god tier rates. So we still lose a little bit of money on shipping, but if you shop around, like shipping is expensive.
It really is.
Yeah, it'll put a dent in you. But now, like I'm so happy with our shipping rates. Like we have like the best shipping rep ever as a result of this. Like I need to hook him up. I need to buy him like a Tesla Model 3. Like that. That's how
some good shipping rates you got going.
That's how much he hooked me up.
Sean's like, what?
Yeah, I need to buy him a Tesla. It's like, I'm sure you're not allowed to take this as a gift. But he hooked me up. Lol, third eye brain. Yeah. Algae problem, buy a fox face. They're so much better than Tangs when it comes to algae control, in my opinion. Fox faces. That is my go-to fish for that.
You are a Tang hater, though.
I am a super Tang
Yeah,
hater.
you love foxface, which they do. That I've been seeing them eat bubble out, eating a lot of stuff that I'm happy, but I've never personally kept one.
No, me neither.
Really?
No, we've never had a tank big enough, I guess, where I'd feel comfortable with it and some Tangs but they do some major work. I've seen it here.
They also can eventually eat coral.
Yeah,
that's the thing I have.
problem.
Yeah.
But they are simply just like, if somebody's to compare it to let's say a yellow tang in terms of like productivity, there's no comparison. Like none.
Yellow tangs are more for show, I feel like. Like they'll do it, they'll graze, but they're not gonna.
It's funny how much. Yeah, they're worth so much right now. But I've always called them the rats of the reef. I mean, there's
worth.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, Nathan's over there. They'll eat anything. They'll run around and.
Right.
Supply and demand is such a funny thing.
It is.
I remember like a million years ago, I was talking to somebody about like how like scarcity, or at least the appearance of scarcity, is the thing that just like drives like prices of certain things like super high. For example, we were talking about like a black tang, and at the time of black tang, I don't know, $400, $500. I don't even know. But I was like saying, you know what? If you looked at a yellow tang and a black tang, a yellow tang is objectively a better looking fish. It's a bright yellow fish. That thing over there is just an all black fish, right?
See, I'm the outlier that likes the
black tang better.
They're just...
You're so emo.
He gotcha.
But anyway, now the yellow tangs are scarce. It's like, $1,000 yellow tangs, boys.
That is wild.
That is.
It is weird. They're probably close to the same price for the first time ever. Yellow tangs
And
and
black
tangs.
tangs. Whoever would thought, right?
Right.
By the way, if anybody wants to buy my yellow tangs for like $700 to $1,000 a piece, I'm not wedded to the idea of having yellow tangs. So,
I mean, you could have a school of gems in that tank for literally the same price. That's wild.
That would be sick.
That would be cool.
but you could also have my yellow tangs.
He has quite a few.
Yes.
Yes. So you can fund my Tesla Model 3 pretty quickly at that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, no, but that is totally insane that yellow tangs are just fetching. Are they really? Who's buying $500 yellow tangs, guys? Like real.
Yeah,
like
people are just putting the price tag on them, but no one's actually.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's.
No
bought
one's
one yet.
actually sold one.
No.
That feels like something I would do, though.
Yeah.
buy one.
Like I'm so ridiculous. Yeah.
You know what? We should just put one on our site. It's like for like $12.50.
Just for funsies and see how it goes.
I will hand deliver that. Like seriously.
Well, you heard it, guys. If you want a house call from
Yeah.
Fan, all you have to do is order one of the
You
yellow
want to
tangs.
meet Fan?
Yeah, you'd be in there in your 3-piece suit catching those yellow tangs left and right.
You know what? We had to catch a fox face out of that 600-gallon tank.
Oh my gosh.
Because he went like really rogue.
He was such a bully.
He was gonna kill something. Yeah, like in front of us. He's about to murder another fish.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, we're catching this thing. That was a fun time.
You almost need those nets that they use in the wild where they have like the floaters on them.
Yeah, the sink nets.
Yeah, that you could just
bait nets.
If I ever have to get a fish out of my 450, I'm thinking I'm like, first of all, I'm gonna figure out a way to divide the tank flat out and just usher it into a corner with netting.
Have you seen like those bubble traps?
Yeah, I don't know if they're called tank mates or what, but the one, it looks like a goldfish bowl with a foam around the lid.
Yeah.
And then it's a magnet on the bottom. So I've
seen a video like
it's
an ad,
sitting against the
on
glass.
Facebook.
Yeah, the fish will come in, you feed it, and you pull the magnet, and it just floats.
Okay, so here's the thing.
I have seen something like that.
I've also seen like a cat treadmill, and where the
But
cats
does
are
it work?
running on the treadmill. And I have one of these. And my cats have literally made contact with this thing maybe for 1 nanosecond. And I have this giant ass cat treadmill thing.
You have a cat treadmill.
And no one's using this
Come
cat
on,
treadmill.
Piper, run a little faster.
Listen, our cats wouldn't use Kitty Castle until we put their food bowl on it.
I put food on it. Like they did not care about that. No.
Kitty Castle. You bought it because you thought it was cool. The cats didn't.
Yeah, true.
So I'm just like wondering if like this little fishbowl fish trap thing is just like that sort of thing where they just got video to show that it in theory could work.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now that you mentioned it.
Yeah, I bet if you had that, you'd just like feed it and like nothing would.
Feels
just
like a lower
show.
cost experiment than a cat treadmill, though. Should be a pretty easy thing to try. But also, I would like to see this cat treadmill.
Yeah.
If anybody wants a cat treadmill, I will also sell that for $500.
Is it big enough for one of my kids to go on?
Cat treadmill. It's like, please tell me that's what you spent. That makes it even funnier.
It's not that expensive.
My little Lord Bridgerton may want to try it. So.
Yeah, well, my fat kitties want nothing to do with exercise. Oh man, they spend all their calories begging for more food.
We have a custom heat pad for Zero. That's about her speed.
Actually, Jim Telegram just commented he's used one of those traps. Jim's a very smart man, and I actually watch a lot of his videos. He's a electrical engineer, I'm pretty sure. But he said he used one 2 weeks ago, and he caught a yellow tang with it.
As a gift for
Did
a
he
friend.
sell it? Did he sell it?
Lies.
Is he taking advantage of
He's a good guy.
the
He might
market?
have gifted it. I don't know.
He gifted a yellow tang.
Oh, speaking of gifting yellow tangs.
You owe us some money, I think.
Yeah, that was pre-ban.
So literally 2 weeks before the ban, Jen and I had a yellow tang and a chocolate tang, and it was in our frag. They were in our frag tank, and we have some nice alva grown everywhere. You know, some sea lettuce, and for some reason they won't eat it. So we're like, hey Nathan, you know, you got a big tank. You can use some extra tank. So we gifted it to him. Mm-hmm. 2 weeks later, I come to work on Monday, and Dan's like, hey, Hawaii shut down. Jen and I look at each other like, well, there you go, Nathan. You know, congrats.
I work in investments, and investments have done really well this year, but that was my best investment yet this year.
Really?
Free to whatever.
You sold,
It's an infinite return.
You sold Tesla stock, though.
I also sold more at its recent high, actually.
Did you really? Mistakes were made, dude.
Huh? Oh, I can rebuy it now. It's come down over 10%.
Well, that's true. That's true. I did see that.
Is it sad that I count on my coral as my retirement?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
no,
I
we do
invest in
too.
coral is the
Yeah,
problem.
it's good. Is that a problem?
Well, you know what? If you load it up on yellow tangs, it's like you can
Score.
retire now.
No, I just gave mine away a couple months ago to Travis.
What?
My
His
yellow
yellow
tank.
tank.
Oh, gosh.
I miss now, man.
The gold bars. You're just tossing gold bars around. To be fair, I told Jen and John then that you guys could sell that tank.
The next time I saw you, you were like,
do
you want it back? Like, no.
It's in the frag tank. If it was in the display tank, I'm like, yeah, if you want it, you got to come get it.
Luis
capture it.
Aceves is just saying like to answer like who's buying these things, like hype beasts, like hype beast reefers are buying yellow tangs.
There's a notorious person in the area who bought out a local fish store of them for like $80 and then posted them on Facebook for $400.
Oh my
really?
gosh, I saw
That's
that.
just dirty.
That's the fun part of the hobby.
Yeah.
I probably don't know this person's name, but let's not put somebody on
Oh no,
blast.
I'm not putting anybody's name out there.
Someone trying to...
What is over there? This is like a horror movie. What is going on?
You guys, that's our ringer.
It's because it's a clown show here.
It's the start of the purge.
Oh gosh. Alright, well that's my
What is that?
The shop phone.
Oh,
That is the official Tidal Gardens shop phone.
that's great. Quite the ringtone and volume. That's nice.
Is that the phone that did?
I legitimately thought that it was like off.
That's
Sit
funny.
up here while Jen takes a break.
Somebody's like, damn.
Did the mic pick that up? I'm guessing it did.
Oh, it probably.
Oh yeah, that's the fun ringer. So when the saw next door is going loud, you can hear it.
It's like it's usually like quite the clown fiesta here, but no, it's the whole damn circus.
Get the smiles when you can. Yeah.
Actually, could you hand me the phone? I'll turn it off. I'll turn it off. Jonathan's tenure in the video seat. Okay, how do I do this on Android?
Couldn't tell you.
Android off. There we go. So Ben got it's called like a phone soap. Have you ever heard of this thing? Phone soap. It's basically like a UV sterilizer case for the phone.
Yeah, I have seen such a thing.
I saw him
Pretty
playing
neat.
with it.
Is that what it was over there?
Yeah.
Oh, it was in the UV?
Yeah. Somebody said, I need that treadmill for one of my kids.
Hopefully because they're high energy.
Okay, so Pat's saying, aren't they breeding yellow tangs? Yes.
Yeah, I got 8 of them
Yeah, you have
before the shutdown.
biota.
Yeah, they come in pretty small, which I was totally fine with. In fact, when I got them, I thought it was so cool how young and small they were. But they grow incredibly fast. They were all healthy, all fine, and one got sucked into an inductor, but that was not the fish's health's fault. That's how small they were, but they grew up real quick, and they're a few of them are a little fighty now, but
Little fighty.
yeah, they're not torn up. So
How was your Achilles with them, or them with your Achilles? Nothing.
no interaction. No, yeah.
Just because they're totally zebrasoma.
I've seen the Achilles chase the young powder brown once, and it was just a quick little flash, and it was notable because I had never seen him do it at all. So
Wow.
Someone wants a Fraggle box.
See, it's a great name.
Tangs are just so mean. Like, they're such jerks.
Yeah, they can be pretty snipey.
I almost don't understand how people can get like relaxed looking at fish, especially in this reef aquarium side of things. Like
how you can get relaxed
watching saltwater fish because they're all so ornery,
bickering,
just so chippy.
Yeah, when you're people like us and you actually know what they're doing and how they're acting, yeah, you're like, oh man, look at the aggression of that, or he's swimming over there. Or...
Well, I guess, yeah, if you don't know any better, then you just enjoy the movement instead of go, God, why are they moving like that?
I'm curious if in the wild a school of fish have a natural just sorting out pecking order hierarchy, and that's just kind of natural. Now, it's different. You know it's different when you see the death spiral where they're turning on each other. That is not good. But when mine just flash at each other and they do a quick little darts back and forth, but they're not drawing blood. They're not slashing each other.
Yeah.
Luckily, ours have kind of calmed down to the point where any like fin tears and stuff like that.
Anything that actually,
They're all healed up.
Right. They'll go at it, but there's nothing physically, I think they figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've never had an issue. My fish are always so happy together.
Yeah.
your chalk basses bickered.
Oh no, you're right. The chalk basses were kind of shady.
They bicker a little bit, but not too bad.
But once they had their zones in my tank, they were pretty consistent.
Speaking of somebody else's fish in my tank,
Yeah.
Sean Paul's chalk basses are in my tank because he took down his system for a move. But I don't think we're ever going to get them out.
No,
But they also spawned in your tank
They
like
did.
immediately.
Really?
That
I
was
forgot.
the coolest. Yeah.
They both. I saw a pair of them dart up towards the surface and then dart away from each other. And then I was like, oh, what is it, bubbles? And then I looked a little closer and no, it was eggs.
Huh.
That's so neat.
And then something spawned in my tank about a week ago. And Lexi went downstairs and was like, Daddy, something's going on with the skimmer. And I was like, oh, it's overflowing. And I go down there and the whole compartment is just foam, like a rave, like just a foam. And I'm totally out of the skimmer. The whole sump compartment, and there was some cloudiness.
Maybe snails.
It's
or
either
something.
snails or I've seen the micro brittle stars. I've seen them do major clouding
They cloud
all
really.
at the same time. Yeah.
Interesting.
Oftentimes it's if you do a large water change. Sometimes they'll do it then, but I don't know who the culprit was at this point.
I actually just poured something in because I was there.
Yeah, you were there, weren't
Right.
you?
I also would like to circle back around to the like a rave comment. Does that mean you were a raver once upon a
I
time?
know, I've seen movies.
Oh, darn it. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I can't see myself at a rave. No.
I still have all of my gear if you want to try.
I
I can teach you.
would have to be on the substances at the rave,
Oh.
and then I think I'd be all out. But otherwise, I'd be like, this is kind of silly.
Yeah, at this age, I don't know, man.
No, not at this age. Heck no.
I don't think the recovery is going to work out so well.
I'm going to give it a go one day when COVID's over.
Nor will be the acceptance of my presence.
It's like, whose dad is here?
Who's the guy with the beard?
Yeah.
Who let Boomer Dad into this?
Why is that bald, chunky guy trying to twerk? That's going to be sense to me.
He should have a shirt on.
It's MASH, Jonathan. It looks nice.
So Rory's asking, where can I get that hoodie? TidalGardens.com/merch.
Oh, it's really comfortable.
We
I
have
wear it more than I should.
fantastic merch.
We do. Becca, I mean, Jen just
She
the other day,
kills
she's
it
like,
on
hey,
design.
what if you make some girl tank tops? I like to wear tank tops when I'm working in the tanks.
Yeah.
Literally the next week, she had them designed.
I have a whole new wardrobe now. It's awesome.
Speaking of Becca, you should see the photo she's been taking for this Reef to Reef show coming up.
Yes, yeah.
It's
They're
Stan can
gorgeous.
tell you. I mean,
It's turning out nicely.
Yeah.
Because we had to do a lot of... So usually like our flash sale that we do, or like our YouTube show like this, we shoot in a specific way that pretty much limits us to about 250 corals. But for this other show, it's like over 1,000 corals.
trays.
So we have to do something differently. But we didn't want to lose quality. And so that was kind of its own little problem. But no, she's done a really good job, and yeah, it's a lot to be excited about, I'd say. Yeah, she's working out.
She's doing good.
Becca's okay.
Yeah, Becca's all right.
Is Becca the one that also does the merchandise?
Yeah.
Can she do a hoodie similar to this, but Tidal Gardens?
Oh,
or
like
is
a
it-
lighter, like a
Yeah,
like a
a
t-shirt
lighter
I think so.
material
jersey.
hoodie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
She
I
did a
love these
zip up
things.
one for me that I love.
Ooh.
But it's just normal
You know
hoodie
what?
material, but
With
it's a
pockets.
good zip up.
That with a little center, yeah.
I think it might be possible. Maybe.
Can have a little coral
doesn't have much
peeking
to do.
out
What,
of the
what's her
pocket.
email so we can email her apparel
Oh.
requests?
All right.
Custom apparel.
That'll go swimmingly. That'll go just so well. So when we hired her, like out of like fresh out of college, I think that she was like worried that there wouldn't be enough work to do here, and she literally has like 5 full-time jobs worth of work here. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know what, pick 10 projects, pick 7, those aren't getting done.
Yeah, I see her running with a camera or a table this way and then that
She's a
way.
busy
I'm like,
bee.
whatever I can do to help her. But then I see a coral, I'm like, man, I wish I could tell her to take a picture of that. But I'm like, you know what? She's got enough to do right now.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely busy.
I always feel guilty when I have to ask her to take a picture of something before I cut it. I'm like, oh God, I'm adding to her list.
And she'll just be like, yeah, no problem.
What's crazy about her is like, so I don't know why we're talking about her so much behind her.
Yeah, really.
But
because we're being nice.
This is all complimentary stuff. But like her work ethic is kind of rare for somebody that's like that young.
Yeah.
Like you hear like stories about people just like of her age group not working that hard or something.
Yeah.
But she's like
every day here.
Yeah.
Ready to
Becca's
go.
a very hard worker.
Like,
she has fantastic work
and
ethic.
requires almost like no supervision, which is like crazy. Like if I don't say a single word to her all day, she's pretty much working the entire day.
Oh, yeah.
Without any input from me.
Yeah.
No, the only supervision she needs is just with the toaster oven.
Yeah, she burns
I thought we
toast.
were being nice. I thought we were being nice.
Save that for
I love
offline.
you, Becca.
Come on.
I mean,
No, that toaster oven's gotten all of us.
It's
I
strong.
think.
Yeah.
It's got some power.
it's garbage. I burn stuff in that thing.
How can Tidal Gardens have a bad toaster? I can't believe what is going on. We just made use of the coffee, espresso, gelato machines out there, and we got
Yeah,
a bad
the toaster is not on that level.
Subpar.
I don't know. Maybe there's not such. Maybe there is no such.
Kick it
thing
back
as
to
a
the
good
greenhouse?
Toaster. Take it back to the greenhouse.
We do need a better toaster. That's true. So actually, this is so funny. If Ben were here, he'll never be on one of these shows, by the way, ever.
Ben's camera shy, yeah.
He's not into it, but he would chime in right now because there's this $300 Japanese Mitsubishi toaster.
Oh, he showed me. Oh.
It does one slice of toast at a time. You need a special transformer.
Is it a conveyor one?
No.
A special transformer.
No. It looks like a griddle sort of thing. Okay.
Seriously?
And it does one slice of toast, and it'll come out
$300.
perfect. It'll have like the slightest crust
Just
on the outside.
even.
On the inside, it'll just have just that perfect amount of like of moist softness.
Yeah.
It's like perfect toast.
I mean, don't... Yeah.
$300 toaster.
I'm thinking of using it to make like a toasted and then put peanut butter on it and get it all nice and melty. But you can't really do that.
Can't.
But your
Seriously?
first piece of
I've
toast is
seen-
going to be cold by the time your second piece of toast is ready.
I've seen people put in like cheese and ham and stuff like that, and like slap that thing
so it's
down there.
almost-
Oh, so it's
It's
like
like a
order-
legit panini
I don't know
maker
if you want to
kind
put
of.
peanut butter in there. That's going to get all over the inside. But
Oh, man.
I know what I'm having when I get home.
We make...
Toasted peanut butter and jelly.
Look at my tanks.
We'll
and some
make
good
peanut butter and
food.
Nutella, but cook it like a grilled cheese. And
And,
so it's
and the other thing is,
gooey.
guys,
Oh my
we make
gosh.
our own bread here.
The
like-
bread's so good.
Yeah, like fresh bread. So like if I fire that thing up in first thing in the morning by about 11 a.m. when everybody kind of needs like a slight like pre-lunch pick-me-up, we got like this whole place smells like a bakery.
Oh.
It smells like Auntie Anne's pretzels
It does.
when you make bread.
Oh.
That's my favorite
You think
thing.
it smelled like fish
Wow.
and coral,
Yeah.
but this place.
Nope.
Dan's keeping caloric intake up for the employees.
Oh, we're gonna get
make
so
sure
fat
they
here.
continue efficiency.
Yes. We're going to be fat and happy. It's
Yeah.
going to be a good time.
Very fat. What's
Until
up, Siggy?
you'll allow that to happen until productivity slows a little bit. Then you're going to cut calories in.
So we
No, that's what the coffee's
the
for.
coffee is highly effective here.
It works well on everyone.
Yeah.
Let's say.
It's very intense. All right, let's see.
Everyone's jittery and
Yeah.
jelly.
I cleaned all the trays.
Oh man,
Cut some extra frags.
it's like so. So Sagi is saying, "Than, bad toaster really doesn't Tesla make a toaster?"
Come on, Siggy. You're the tech guy. What's the toaster we need?
Yeah, for real. Well, I'm telling you,
Toaster reviews.
it's
He
this,
may have one. I just saw. I didn't.
It's this
Tech
$300
Gear Talk
Mitsubishi
toaster.
one. It's great for like.
No.
There's no English on the buttons, guys. Like it's like the realest toaster.
I like the sound of it though. Tech Gear Talk toasters.
There you go.
God, we don't even have a toaster at home right now. I'm old school. I'm just putting it in the oven every time I want toast.
Is $29.99 shipping for the cat treadmill from you guys?
That is not covered.
Ugh, that cat treadmill. That's the biggest cat disappointment thing.
I want to know the size of it. Like 2x2?
No, it's big.
Oh, no way.
It's like...
I wonder if Titty Mama would like it.
Our cat would. She'd probably run
Yeah.
it.
That's the name. That's their cat's name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you say what I thought you said?
All right, so before there's judgment, she was named by a 2-year-old. Apologies.
Couldn't say kitty or meow meow.
Yeah. But that's what she argued with us was the cat's name.
Dan's face.
It's like
I looked
context.
Up, I looked up and said, did she say what I thought she did?
Yeah, I'm looking over at Nathan. He's
I was like, yes, she did.
I super did.
That's the
Apologies
cat's
to
name.
everyone.
That's the cat's name. Not my cat.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So speaking of Tesla, I signed up for the Starlink better than nothing beta. Have you heard of this?
No.
I've heard of the beta for Starlink.
It's literally called it's better than nothing.
Oh my god.
It's like we're setting expectations low for this, you guys.
Wow.
When's that start? Did you sign up to be a part of it, or are you
No,
going to be
I
part
paid. I paid money. Like so, by the end of this year,
of it? What kind of beta do they have you pay money for?
It's expensive. It's like $500 for the equipment, and $100 a month. Yeah.
It's not beta. That's a subscription service.
That sounds like it's a real ass product.
But they tell you it's not going to be good. And you're like, take my money. It's satellites and technology. Take my money.
It's like I want every opportunity to participate in this IPO. So if this gets me on some some secret list of
Oh my gosh.
Surprise! It won't.
gimme. No, but okay. So I have heard of the Bermuda toaster as well. So Gen RS, I have heard of it. I heard that the Mitsubishi is like the one though. There's like I don't remember this guy's YouTube channel, but he took the Mitsubishi one apart, and I guess the entire inside is like a work of art.
Oh, I bet you it's beautiful.
It's like the entire thing is like they're no
joke over there. I mean, you ever seen a Honda factory where they make their race motorcycles? They wear all white, and they build a pure race motorcycle in 2 hours in a factory, and it's just from one guy to the next. No one gets dirty. They know they engineer stuff really well.
I've seen a lot of stuff in Japan that's like mind-blowingly impressive. So it does not surprise me that if they're putting together like a super nice toaster, it does not shock me.
I missed something, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
I came back into toaster.
You get the
talk.
hot seat now.
Oh god.
Yeah, we were talking about a $300 toaster because our toaster here is not very good. It burns everybody's toast like a lot. So yeah, people are like, how do you not have a good toaster? Like we've got like good everything except not a good toaster. So
It's to keep us humble.
it's
Keep your feet on the ground.
it's a trap. It's a trap so that somebody can just take some abuse.
Right, because at least once a week somebody has to burn lunch. It's a thing. Yeah.
Pretty much, and we always blame it on Becca.
Always. That's what they come with.
It's like no matter who actually burned, it's like Becca.
I mean, this place has the best ice cream maker I've ever seen, so it's a legit place, guys.
We got lucky today because I made chocolate ice cream for everybody here. So like Nathan brought his kids and stuff. They knew.
I didn't realize what their intentions were until they said something. I was like, oh, that's right. They know about the ice cream.
Chocolate is like the hardest ice cream for me to make. Like I make really, really, really good other flavors, but chocolate specifically has like at the lowest, like everything goes wrong end of the spectrum. It is like a really sad Wendy's Frosty. But today's chocolate was very good.
But I also feel like if your lowest point is a Frosty, you've not done bad. Right?
But it's a sad Frosty.
Well, as Welkin said today, it was too good. That's how good it was. It was too good.
Yeah, it worked out nicely. Yes, it is like 18 degrees outside. Doesn't matter. We're having gelato. It's nice. Let's see. So somebody said one of the side gigs was contract writing for Honda NA. The white suits is legit.
That's awesome.
Fan needs to get a cotton candy machine next. So, you know what? When I think of a cotton candy machine, I see this video of a raccoon that takes cotton candy, and you know how raccoons like to wash their food, and he takes it over to like a little puddle to try to wash it, and it just disappears, and this poor little raccoon's like so confused, like where did it go? I'm like,
I've seen that video. It's heartbreaking and also very comical.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
We don't have raccoons here. If we did, I would feed the heck out of them. We'd have the
love
fattest raccoons ever here.
I used to go to the park
What do you
in
mean?
Brecksville as a teenager all the time with a loaf of bread and sit on the picnic tables and hand feed the raccoons, and they were so fun.
I feel like based on where you live, there are for sure
I was going to say,
raccoons
how do
here.
you not have raccoons?
You know how I know there's no raccoons? Because
People around here shoot them?
No, because we put food out for the kitty cats.
Yeah, we have a lot of awesome kitties that just come
there's
around.
no raccoons.
That's
Outside
interesting.
No raccoons.
I
You just have one raccoon that goes meow.
The raccoons right along the creek by my house, and in the summer when our doors are open, they make ungodly noises, like a wide range of crazy noises, and every now and then at 3 a.m. they're going crazy right outside our patio door or our sliding door.
My parents at their house, they had a neighbor, and he used to hand feed raccoons outside of his like sliding door. And he showed us like pictures of this, and there's like a dozen raccoons just like hanging out.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like that's how you end up getting attacked by a raccoon.
Yeah.
My Uncle Johnny used to have a pet raccoon for a long time. Her name was Becky. And raccoons actually, they get mean as they age. So they're kind of like hedgehogs. While they're young, they're really affectionate little pets. But then as soon as they mature,
They're
it's just no
aggressive.
bueno.
And not only that, but
Yeah.
they chew through your walls.
Mm-hmm.
They're like
Yeah.
really good at just getting through your building.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't have that.
Yeah.
Like there's just certain degrees of like cat puke is one thing, but you like literally digging and making a nest in my cabinets, like
It's kind of cute.
I didn't know that about hedgehogs. They get mean as
they
they
get really
older.
mean as they get big.
Good to know.
Yep.
Not
Don't
that I
let
was
Lexi
gonna-
get one
yeah,
because
not
she'll
that-
want one.
yeah.
They're adorable.
Oh,
They
yeah, my-
are cool.
Yeah.
What?
Sagi says hi.
Oh, SB, what's good? Hello, Mr. Shalom.
He actually got you into reefing, didn't he?
Yeah. Well,
Sagi?
no, he saved me.
Saved you, yeah.
I was one of those original reefers that went into a local fish store and they sold me an entire setup, guys. This is true. They bagged up the dirty sand.
It was a
dirty
it was a
water?
set literally a
Display
tank
Yeah, it's like a JVJ
that was set up in the store.
in the store. They sold me every coral, every fish, and you will not believe this. I crashed that in about 12 hours. So I joined a local online forum. This kind gentleman watched me failing and offered support. And now he's like my best guy friend and the reason I'm a reefer. So,
That's cool.
yeah.
It's a really small world.
Yeah.
Because so I met Jen, Sagi, who's Tech Gear Talk.
Yeah.
Go check out his channel, especially if you like Apple stuff. He's doing a lot of Apple content, Sagi. And Sean Paul. All three of them separately, and they all just like happen to know each other. And then like Jen most recently used to work for Sean Paul.
That's true. He actually stole
my
favorite humans.
I poached Jen from Sean Paul.
5 years it took to get her to work with me. And he took her in 3 days. Just throwing that out there. I'm not bitter at all.
I do recall before Jen worked for you, and you always were hoping to acquire her talent.
I just wanted to work with somebody that could talk about coral with me.
No, I finally came to work for you, got your tank back up, and then
And then
down.
Oh no. So yeah, that's why like I had to let him come over and hang out because it's like I'm so sorry. Sort of, not really. I'm not terrible. I mean, just as sorry as anyone can be, I guess.
That's the nicer of the things he's done to me recently. I also texted him, asked if I could just come out here and see his corals.
It's like no,
and he responded with no.
I didn't actually. The worst yet, I didn't even respond to you. There's somebody else here.
Somebody else responded with no, and I was like, well, that
On the Carney phone, somebody picked up and said no.
He stole my favorite humans, and then you deny me coming over.
Sean Paul resisted the "Do you know who I am" line though, so that was pretty good.
That's because I'm nothing but class.
Oh my gosh. These are the antics that go on here. Like this is pretty much the work environment here.
It is.
Like
yeah.
all the time. Trying to catch up on on the chitty chats. Let's see. My great grandmother said she would make raccoons cornbread and feed them.
Grandma's the cutest. That's so adorable. She would bake for them.
I'm baking for the raccoons.
5-year-old me sitting on her back porch with a hunk of cornbread in my hand. I thought she was, and the 5-year-old thought she was crazy.
Yes, that's so funny.
Okay, I'm sorry, but like your grandma was crazy, but great grandma, but awesome.
Right.
She sounds adorable.
So raccoons are so cute. So this is actually really funny. I was texting this little GIF I saw. It was basically like an old Asian man that if you like squinted your eyes just a little bit, just blurred it, you could almost think like that could be Than when he's 50. Like he looks like me, okay? And he's like feeding a red panda, and this red panda is just like just climbing up this like zookeeper guy, and I'm like, that is some hashtag goals right there. Like that's what I want to be when I'm 50.
I will say, like, every time I've tried to hand feed a wild animal, it has actually backfired. A snapping turtle almost took my life. There was a squirrel that taunted me for weeks. I mean, yeah, it never works. Stick to the fish.
I've had my share of mishaps. No, I actually got bit by a dolphin at SeaWorld.
Oh,
on
for
a
real?
school field trip.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, back when I was like a little kid, I was not super athletic. I got athletic when I was about 14, but this is like when I was about 10, and I was at SeaWorld, okay? Mm-hmm. And they were doing this thing with at the seal show at SeaWorld, where like the seals would like throw a frisbee into the crowd sort of thing.
Yes.
And I literally remember as a kid thinking, please don't throw that freaking frisbee my way. And that thing was like freaking Peyton Manning of like frisbee. That thing, like that was a laser right to me. I didn't catch it.
Please don't throw it.
It's like, please, no, seal, don't do it. Don't do it. I can't. Oh, shoot. It's like that thing was like perfect.
Just stared at it coming.
I'm like, no.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, gosh, man. The childhood traumas.
Yeah.
That seal, man, it knew. It's like, which one of these kids can't. Oh, found him. Oh, man. All right, somebody's got to have a question about corals. Hey, Than, question about Zoas. I've heard mixed things about combining them close to each other. Some say anything goes, no warfare. Others say something different about different sizes don't mix. Any thoughts on this? Who's the Zoa expert here?
So I buy a lot of high-end Zoas. Like, that's one of my guilty pleasures. And I will say, like...
Not for me. But
he doesn't let me shop here, guys, so I try. But the reality is, like, I've had them live super successfully next to each other and make amazing colonies that are just pushed right up to each other. But then I've had times where they've overpowered and completely wiped out some stunning Zoas.
I think it just depends on growth speed. Like certain ones reproduce a lot faster. So if you have slower growers, just try to keep them in their own area so they won't get blown away by like Pandoras or something that grow like wildfire.
You had to go there.
Hey, listen, I said Pandoras, not Nirvanas.
I like them both and they've hurt me both.
I know. Nirvanas are beautiful, but they grow very quickly.
How many times have you bought Nirvanas?
In the same day? Full disclosure. First of all, that's rude and true. Guys, when I look at Nirvanas and under any form of different lighting, it becomes a magical new Zoa to me. And at one point, I think I had 7 different colonies of Nirvanas in my home tank, which turned out to all look the same under my lighting. And so Jen and Jonathan over here actually had to approve my Zoa purchases for a while.
Mm-hmm. But there was a time you actually bought 2 Nirvanas at the same swap.
You know what? And I'm not ashamed of that.
No.
We all go through weird times.
Catchphrase.
The J Vlog, Tidal Gardens. Hello from Japan. Been years since I've kept a tank. Love your stuff.
Cool.
Thank you. my friends, my vacation friends and I desperately miss Japan. We want to go back, and y'all won't let us come back. But like seriously, like today, my friend sent me a text of like us at a cat cafe in Japan, which it's its own degree of hilariousness because it's not a good value because you spend like $30, they give you like free coffee while you're there, and those cats, they look through you like you're not even there.
Oh, Sean Paul's last cat came from a cat cafe.
Yeah. I went to, there's a cat cafe in Tremont, Ohio called Affogato.
Can we explain exactly what a cat cafe is?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing it
need a
is
little-
what it
it's
sounds
literally
like, but I
what
would
I
like
think.
to know.
I need a touch up.
Yeah, so basically it's like a super like clean, well kept area that has like a ton of like cats just roaming around, so you can kind of just like play and like hang out with the cats, you know, and
Sip
stuff
your
like
latte.
that. And it's like, and the one in Japan that I went to anyway, it was like crazy strict about how clean you had to be for the sake of the animals, and so you did like no shoes, you had to like put on their slippers, you had to wash your hands and everything like that before you could interact with the animals and stuff. But it's like they have a giant like cat tree in the middle. It's a cool place, right? But the cats, they know the only important person there is their caretaker, and that has like all the food and everything like that. They get priority, and all you other people are just like
Obstacles.
the clients.
Yeah.
You're just the client. You're just the customers, you know. And they like I've never seen like less affectionate cats.
So I did come home with a cat that day as a first-time cat owner.
Was this an impromptu?
Yeah, it was,
cat
you know,
purchase?
like I was going through a breakup probably, knowing me, I do those every 3 to 4 months. And I went to the cat cafe, and there's a cat that wouldn't let you touch it, and it would only hiss and bite. And I was like, this poor guy needs to come home. And they said he's a hospice cat.
You're like, I can save him.
So I was like, let's give him the best end-of-life care ever. So I spent like a couple $1,000 on like cat toys, cat condos for a dying cat that also peed on me. Long story short, he lived a full year, made my life completely miserable, and I still loved him. His name was Thundercat.
And what did Thunder like to do while you were sleeping?
Oh, he would bite my face. And he had 2 teeth left. And so there's like a brown sludge that would come out of his mouth, and he spit it into my open mouth one night while I was sleeping. And at that point, I had hoped to be put down. But yeah, Thunder lived a full year, guys, and ruined almost every piece of furniture I owned and my life. But now I have Lord Bridgerton, and things are good. Sorry.
Well, I don't know what else to say.
sassy
I'm
and regal,
leaving.
that's
I got nothing.
This is what happens when not enough people ask
Reef
Reef
questions.
Aquarium questions.
So now you're on
It's so
the
off
cat
trail, we don't even pay
anecdotes.
attention.
This is on you guys. If you threw us something to work with, you wouldn't hear about this.
Oh no. Good grief.
Oh my gosh, if you walked past Thunder, he would hiss at you. It was the funniest thing.
He also would eat cat yogurt and go, yum, 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 yum.
Oh,
yum.
yeah.
It was cute.
What's cat yogurt?
It was like, I don't know if it's cat yogurt. It was like tuna flavored juice in a pouch.
It looks like a Go-Gurt pouch.
And you'd
that
like
you give
squeeze it out and
kids.
you'd just
Yeah.
make this yum yum noise, and it was really charming.
He
until
sounded
attacked you
like
for
a
it.
human saying yum yum yum. I thought it was fake. I thought it was a friend of yours making
Yeah.
that noise.
Yeah. Let's see. Any interesting cat stories?
People like that. story.
Not like that, but so okay. I'm like occasionally I am super basic, and I actually Uber Eats Arby's. Okay. And here's the thing.
I get it.
So sometimes like when I'll like pass out halfway through like my French dip or whatever. Or whatever, like some double stack of fake ass roast beef, whatever it is, okay? And I'll pass out halfway through. And then my cats will just come and like finish my sandwich. They will just eat all the Arby's. And the funniest thing about it is like my thought is like, you know what? No, kitties, that's not good for you. And
Oh, wait. I was just
oh
eating.
wait. Literally not good enough for my cats, but this is what I'm Uber Eatsing right now.
Right. Fine for me, just not for the kitties.
Oh no. So we don't have good food options here. So like unless you cook, it's gonna be some junk that you're gonna end up eating out here, and
So let's see. What is Lisa asking there?
Lisa.
Yeah. Up,
Okay.
there.
I'd love some recommendations for corals that have colors that. For corals that have colors that are fading. Okay, so she's got some LPS that have fading colors.
Water parameters and consistency.
Yep.
Yeah, lighting may be an
Lighting.
issue. as
Lighting
well
might be
if
too
you-
bright, you think?
Yeah.
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 That's a real simple, probably one
I
of the
know.
biggest.
Some of my Scolies, when I moved them into my new tank, I had changed my lighting setup, and they started losing color right away. I mean, they were such a canary in the coal mine.
Yeah.
So we moved them under caves, and I fed Benepets religiously, and they're back to normal.
By the way, you'd think that like we were sponsored by Benepets. We're absolutely not sponsored by Benepets. But like Jen and Jonathan were the ones who turned us onto it at all. Mm-hmm. But it seems to be like a really good powdered food.
It's a great
It
product.
has built-in probiotics, I think, right?
Yeah.
And my reef has never been happier with any other food.
Well, and there are multiple different size particles too, so you can get some really small things for the really fine filter feeders, and then I mean, our fish even eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great product, and it won't raise your phosphates. But with the bleached coral, I would check your phosphate levels too,
Might
because
be
yeah,
too low or too high. Could easily do that to coral, really upset it, and they'll start expelling their zooxanthellae. That's why it's looking clear. So they're actually letting all the zooxanthellae out of themselves, which that's what keep them alive and produce their own food. So yeah, just double check your water parameters, check your lighting, might be too bright. But if you're gonna do something, do one thing at a time, you know.
Like I think the lighting has, I would say that's probably like 75% of the puzzle.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. But nutrition plays like a huge role in that.
well, especially too, like if you have a very low nutrient system and it's very high light, your coral's not going to like that so much. But if you have a little bit of nitrate and phosphate in the water, you can have higher light and your coral can take it a little easier. So your balance might just be off a bit.
Okay.
I will say, like, my whole secret to success is, and you guys will maybe one day learn, I set up a new tank, it seems like every year. But by month one, I have a full SPS tank.
Yeah.
But it's, as long as I'm super consistent and just monitor for overlighting, phosphates, your standard tests, everything is perfect. But my water change days never change. Nothing ever changes. I feed the same time, and the consistency really does keep everything pretty much happy. But
It does.
yeah.
It's a lot easier to narrow down your issues then
Yes.
too. Because if your maintenance is consistent,
Yeah.
then you know if there's a fluctuation of any type. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Really, all this talk, I can't wait to get home and spot feed the corals.
Yeah.
Let's see. Suggestion. Could you add specific par for them? So no, not really, because the par here is, in one hand, like it's fairly consistent, but it's also weirdly all over the place. And it's not so much the intensity that I think even really matters. I think it's more like color temperature that plays a bigger role.
Yeah.
If you are shooting right around 100 par, that's pretty good for like most things. Like, you should be able to keep darn near everything like really well at about 100 par. There's not too many things that are going to require a lot more than that. And even if you had quite a little bit less, most things would still do well.
Yeah.
So like 100 is like a really safe spot to be.
That's very true, because it sounds weird and stupid, but in our frag tank, we fall on lower light, and we have a lot of different coral in it, and we can hide stuff in that lower light, and it'll actually do better than risking burning it in something with more light. So it's a lot easier to ease it into higher light than...
Then just repair damage. Yeah.
And somebody is asking, how clean are your Zoas? Pretty clean? Or how do you clean your Zoas?
This week I took all of them out, dipped them all, retrayed them all, I mean, we go through them all.
Yeah.
You have to keep them happy and growing.
Yeah, they are susceptible to a lot of different like ailments, a lot of different pests. Now, as far as like the pests and ailments thing, we're doing really well with, okay? But the one thing that is like the most annoying thing for them now is just detritus.
Yeah.
And things that want to then promote the detritus buildup around them. So if you see zoanthids that are like a closed polyp here and there, most of the time it's simply just from us moving it from point A to point B and it's just not wanting to reopen. But the other thing that could cause that is just like detritus itself. And sometimes it takes like a couple days for it to like slough off any kind of detritus. So generally speaking, when we're more proactive about dipping them and fragging them, they stay way cleaner and they do just a lot better.
The makeup brushes are really gentle on the Zoa polyps too. So if you need to actually brush the Zoa mat itself or the closed polyps, you can do that a lot safer with a makeup brush than you can a toothbrush. Because the toothbrushes are still just a little bit too rigid.
And I turkey based my Zoas quite a bit.
Yeah,
Like,
that's good.
not quite a bit, but a couple times a quarter,
I'm pretty sure Nathan says
just
he
to
does.
make sure that they don't get filled up with stuff.
Yeah, that helps a lot. And on the edge of the growth mat, Astrea snails are your best friend. They will simply do a better job than you more consistently. And so it seems like the more Astrea snails that we just like dump into a particular system, like it gets polished clean. So as much of talk as we do, at least I do, about like get in there with your toothbrush and clean your tank, snails are actually better at it than you are.
And they're
much
working
of the
all the
time.
time. Yeah.
RCT has a great question.
RCT. Right. Yeah. Okay. I have a wall frog spawn that 25% of it melted in 48 hours, brown slime, okay? The rest seemed fine 5 days later. Should I cut off the dead skeleton? Probably not.
Yeah, I mean, if you're this far,
If the slime hasn't gone anywhere else,
Well, 5 days, it's not, because
Yeah.
brown slime did its thing.
yeah, if you were going to cut it, you would have cut it that day
And
just to get rid of it.
Right. And sometimes with wall species especially, they don't love being
No.
cut. So
Yeah.
that might kind of bring the brown jelly back.
I would do a gentle dip, if anything,
Yep.
Yeah.
and then leave the skeleton well enough alone.
Yeah.
Okay, so Eric Smith is asking, how many heat packs do you use when shipping during the cold? 2 to 3, depends on the size of the box. Definitely 2. And we punch a couple holes in the box to give it some more airflow. A lot of times, if you have like multiple heat packs, they end up failing because they run out of gas exchange, because they require oxygen to actually fire up and stay hot. So usually we do like a couple holes plus a couple heat packs. So Tammy George, can you answer my question about shipping? Please go ahead and throw that in again, because I don't know if I can find it. How do they all do when being shed? I'm trying to find like her question back again. Okay, yeah, please just throw it back in there. Let's see. Than, how's the Tidal Gardens SPS show tank doing? Pretty good. Pretty good. So we have been adding in a lot of snails, and the fish are doing their job, and I'm doing a little bit of siphoning here and there. Like, we could probably be planting SPS in there at any time. It's just, it's one of those things, like, choose 7, those aren't getting done, so the planting of that SPS tank isn't getting done. But it could be. I mean, we just have to pick out some choice pieces and start epoxying them onto the rocks and stuff like that. But, I mean, is there still algae in there? Yeah. Is it a problem? No, not really. And actually, this is considering that we put in so much food in that tank, it's ridiculous. Like, I feed a ton in there, and we still don't have like an explosion of algae or anything like that.
I feel like everybody that walks past that tank puts a little food in.
Well,
For real.
What's crazy is you could take an entire thing of food, just dump it in there, and literally within 10 seconds, it's gone. Like those fish, I mean, we have tangs in there that look like they're about 1.5 inches thick.
Yeah. I honest to
Giant
goodness
tanks.
don't feed that tank anymore because everybody that comes down puts a little food in.
Or a lot. Yeah. Just dump it all in there and it's gone. Like you could just turn, ask a question, turn back around, and all of it gone. Isaac Torres, should I be getting an email after ordering from the live sale? I've tried creating an account and it never sends me a confirmation email. So Isaac, check your junk mail folder, number one. And number two, check to make sure that you typed in your email correctly. I don't know why, but a handful of people this past week specifically have misspelled their name on their email. So I can't help you there.
Right. And one person put in .con instead of .com.
Yeah, two people misspelled .com. But mainly when that sort of stuff, like what you're just describing there, Isaac, just check your junk mail folder. Yes. Sometimes automated emails end up there. Would a fox face in a 3-foot 60-gallon be really bad? So since I'm like the only person that seems to have fox, do you have a fox face?
I've never considered my tank large enough for one.
Okay.
I don't think a 3-foot long tank would be great long term. If it's a very small fish, I think you'd be okay.
See, fox faces get giant.
Yeah, they get big.
Yeah, they get big, and they get chompy when they get bigger.
Yeah.
So might not be the best.
I have a fox face in the frag tank right now that's 5 feet long. It's a 100-gallon tank. It'll probably be coming to Tidal Gardens.
I'll take it
in a couple of years.
I'll take it.
He'll be on his way here.
Yeah, to like the chagrin of like both Ben and Luke. Especially
another
more
fox face.
Yeah, no, more like because I think Ben is just like.
No, one of them wanted us to order more. I don't remember who was.
Probably me.
That was me.
Some boy was talking about fox face to order.
Irish Knight, do snails get full? I bought some Trocus snails and they demolish algae, but after a few days, they mostly slow down eating and the impact they make slows way down. Yeah, that's pretty typical with snails.
Yeah.
Like could have come in starving, essentially.
Yeah, that's essentially it. They come in like really, really, really hungry, gobble everything up, and then one of two things happens. Either they usually slow down, or sometimes you just like fall over dead. Mm-hmm. Like that first initial period is when like a lot of goofy stuff like that can happen.
Speaking of Trocus, they could have been the ones that fogged the tank. They're like I'm finding baby Trocus that are now like the size of a baby or even bigger,
really,
in random places in my sump and stuff. And I'm like, the only way this could have gotten here is if it was tiny when it got through to this area, and now I'm starting to worry about my pumps. I'm like, these guys are gonna.
Everybody has breeding Trocuses except me. I will trade for those.
They're really nice. Yeah,
dead serious. I'll trade for any and all Trocuses.
Ours used to breed all the time, and they luckily never really messed in the pumps.
But they live for a long time.
I don't know how they're getting to where they're getting.
Yeah, and here's the thing: they ship extremely poorly. So like, it's not like I can just order 5,000 of these things. No, you really can't. They'll die.
No, if you ordered 5,000, you'd probably end up with maybe like 100
or none.
So.
What are the snails that you put in the display tank?
Astrias mostly. Oh. There's a couple Trocuses.
You could run a Trocus farm here.
I can't. They don't breed.
They don't breed for you.
Yeah, for everybody else they do, but not for me.
You got a hello from Poland.
Hello.
Dzień dobry.
I was about to say, it's like, how do you say hi in Polish? Polish is one of the languages I literally can't say a single word.
I can say things like, I want butter.
Yeah, all I know is just punchki.
I want butter.
I know very little Polish. Give you a kiss, I want butter. Hello.
That's awesome. Enough to get you by.
The things you need.
Yeah.
I know how to ask for water in Japanese.
It's impressive.
It comes in dude. Okay, so the one time as a with my vacation friends, we're in Okinawa, and I broke out the may I have some water line, right? And the server, she's like, self-service in English. Nice try, Gaijin.
Tammy George replied, I think she was just wondering basically all the sea life you're showing would do in shipping. She's just wondering how everything we sell ships. And is
Mostly good.
Yeah.
Mostly good. I mean, winter is the worst
It's
time.
the hardest time of year to
It's
ship.
Clearly the hardest.
We
but-
stay away from days where we know it's not the best. And
We try to pack in as much water as we can.
Yeah.
The heat packs help. The thickness of the box helps. But it's still just physics. So if it's like 10 degrees outside, there's no amount of heat packs and water that's going to make that okay. So we'll just have to avoid those days, things like that. It's clearly, and also the biggest risk of delays happens in the winter. It's like, oh, there's ice on the plane. Oh no, there's fog. It's like it's more likely to happen in the wintertime. But we try. You try our best. Also, there is a 7-day guarantee, so if anything does happen wrong, we take care of everything. And Isaac Torres, it's in the junk mail, thank you.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, there we go. Took care of it. Let's see. Ernie Wallace, my Trocus sales have been breeding. Do I have to worry about them taking over? No, because you could probably sell them for $10 each.
Well, they'll self-regulate their population according to your algae levels and stuff too. So you really don't need to worry about them taking over.
Distribute some of them.
Yes, we'll take some also.
That's where actually the majority of mine came from. Wes's tank, because they breed in his so often.
I think we have a couple of Wes's snails too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scott Morrison, he was the one that was asking about the foxface. What's the best algae eater for the 60-gallon tank? Now, I guess like we have to be more specific. Are we talking about macroalgae, or are we talking about like all other types of algae? Because if we're talking about all other types, I think that you should be in snail land.
Yes.
Whereas macroalgae, that sounds like you are
right.
pulling.
Or
You're the
may
tang.
want like a bristle-tooth tang because they stay a bit smaller, so it wouldn't get us stressed out in a 3-foot tank.
Will they do good with macroalgae though?
Yeah, if you had like in order to eat the hair algae and things, yeah, if you had like the blue-eyed coal tangs that we have, since the yellow eyes are no longer really available.
I've become a fan of urchins as of late.
Yeah.
Tuxedo urchins are amazing.
Yes. Now, if you don't have a bunch of frag plugs, they're nice.
So my thing
even
with
then,
them,
there haven't been
they do such a good job of eating algae, 100%. They also are taking all of my healthy and happy snails and carrying them around upside down, and it's like, is this thing killing off all my treasured snails?
Keeping them upside down so the fish can poach them.
Yeah.
I also think it looks cute when they do it though, or when I see like a Zoa plug on an urchin, I'm like, look at you little cutie.
Well, I mean, now that people are 3D printing the hats for them too.
What?
Oh yeah.
They 3D print little sombreros.
Cowboy hat.
Cowboy hats on their urchins.
First of all, new project.
Tell Wes, I think he was saying,
Little
or
cute
Travis,
hats.
either one of them.
Yep.
No, they're tuxedo urchins. They should look fancy.
So they need top hats. Yeah.
Little top hats. Good day.
Okay, can somebody tell me what exactly is old tank syndrome?
Old, dirty. Most of the time, the theory is that it's rocks and sand beds that have absorbed a bunch of nutrients over time and are at their maximum load, and therefore it's just starting to leach back into your system and causing problems. But other people argue that's more of a lazy reefer syndrome over time, that you've allowed it to get to that point, and with regular maintenance you can avoid that.
I tend to agree with that.
The lazy reefer syndrome.
Yes.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
I mean, the tank I just took down was 8 years old, and it was doing fine.
I mean, shoot, stuff happens.
Yeah.
Because, it's... Once your tank's been set up for a while, things can kind of creep in areas, then it's hard to maintain. But yeah, Remember all the bubble algae we had in our tank when we tore it down? Poor Nathan was picking bubble algae off of it.
Yeah, I walked out of the back room.
I've never seen so much bubble.
And Nathan's known, around here for his nice tank and his stuff. And we were just joking that, one of the local celebrity reefers is hand picking bubble algae off of rocks.
I was doing a snail's job. That's what I.
That's the word you said.
Quote fan. I'm doing a snail's job right now.
That should be a shirt. Like, don't do a snail's job.
Oh gosh. I am the snail, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so Ellery is asking, what do you guys know of natural predators I can use to eradicate pallies and mushrooms? Ooh. I don't know if it's anything that you want.
Yeah.
I would just pull them out, get new rocks.
Yeah.
You're the natural predator.
Yeah.
You could use aptasia killing products in very small doses at a time, but you're going to mess with your alk levels probably if you're doing
But
that.
not only that, but like, do you want to like just be disintegrating pallies?
No. Super
Like,
don't.
So much.
That's dangerous. You're
Yeah.
playing with some.
A lot of toxins in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be a really, really bad day.
Yeah, palitoxin's not fun. You might want to just trade those in for some new rocks.
Right.
No.
And mushrooms, these days, like, mushrooms are so expensive. I don't even care what the mushroom is. They're expensive.
Yeah.
Like, trash-looking green mushrooms, like, are expensive.
Like our old school ones that we were just talking
Yeah,
about.
do you guys remember the old ugly watermelon mushrooms? That's what we were talking about the other day.
And at
when
one
that
point
was like
I thought
the
those
best
were fancy.
option.
Watermelon mushrooms.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you saw a wholesale price list and you saw those mushrooms on there, you'd be like, what do you mean they're $20-something each?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Like, wholesale. I'm like, what's going on, Yeah, no, like, mushroom prices, like, so I think that the whole yellow tang thing is kind of like a meme of sorts.
Yeah.
But, like, mushrooms are legitimately expensive to the point where it's like, it's hard to find rocks of mushrooms. Everybody's selling them individually, even, at the commercial scale, which is crazy. Yeah, so Gabriel's asking, are yellow tangs really going for 1K now? It's like, it's early days. I've just never met anybody that's bought a yellow tang for $500 to $1,000. Not saying it doesn't happen. I just don't. I've never seen it.
I think you're going to have a hard time finding a seasoned hobbyist that would be willing to spend that on a yellow tang. Unless it's just because they were told they can't have it and they have that type of personality. You know what I mean?
She's talking about me, guys. The minute somebody tells me I can't have something, I obsess over it. And it usually works out.
So my thing is like, I can't spend that much on a fish, like, ever. Like, that fish would seriously have to, like, grant wishes or something. Like, I mean...
It'll make all your algae removal come true.
Even at that, I just like the coral too much. It's bad, but I'd spend that on coral in no time. But thinking about a fish, I wouldn't.
Maybe a dragon moray? No, come on. What are we doing?
I have some cool, expensive fish on my
Yeah, well,
Yes, no, I would spend the money on fish.
Really?
I would too, I think, yeah.
Y'all are crazy. They die a lot. They jump.
No,
I don't have fish
not if
die.
you're properly prepared. I've had some of these expensive fish for a long time.
You had a yellow tang lodge itself into the back of an eductor.
That wasn't an expensive fish.
No, now it is.
Now it is. But
And that fish actually had a lot of issues, I hear. So.
yeah.
Actually, Jen,
I mean, the most expensive fish I have is the Achilles tang, and I've had it for like 8 years.
Yeah.
your zebra tang was beautiful.
Oh,
Jen.
What was the
Gosh,
fish
that
that
was my
repeatedly
favorite.
tried to off itself in my tank, and we would catch it like midair with our
The
hands?
Midas bloody, he
Midas
lives in our
bloody.
tank now, and we have a lid, and
And
so
he's
he's
happy.
great.
Yes, I have
Yeah.
lids. Yeah.
That thing jumped out like 3 times in 14 minutes.
That's we ended up finally just putting him in a cup that day. I think we're like, no.
Yeah.
Brendan Gao. I've heard Indonesia will have a ban soon. Is there any truth to that? It's possible.
Things come and go.
Yeah, there've been a lot of rumors about that recently.
Yeah. I mean, overseas, it's sometimes like the Wild West
It is.
as far as like what the rules and regulations really are, and then enforcement. And if there's a new person that takes office in their land and resource management thing, they might be on on a particular crusade to like shut down this and that. Or if they say like, okay, we're only going to allow maricultured, captive bred, blah 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 blah. Okay, and then what happens is some of the less scrupulous sellers are selling acanthophyllia just as if they were maricultured. It's like, no, we need to crack down on all that. Stop all collecting. Okay, y'all done screwed it up. We're stopping it. Then we're going to put enforcement measures in place. And so there's a lot of like stuff that's going on over there. So it could it get shut down? Sure, absolutely. It wouldn't surprise me if it did.
No.
Emilio has a great question.
How do I keep my Zoas from stretching? So what causes Zoas to stretch in the first place?
Normally that's a low light situation. Yeah.
That's one thing I could think of. The other thing I could think of is like very low flow would also do it. Mm-hmm. So maybe like a low light, low flow situation. So raising either of those up would probably get those things to shrink back down. The other question, I guess, is why do you want your Zoas to shrink back down?
Yeah, usually people are like, I like it.
I like the big extension.
And I like them tight. Yeah. That's who I am.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. Have you ever sold or worked with guys that had the show on TV called Tanked? No. I have not.
No.
I would love to.
Really? Oh my God. I'm not into novelty tanks, though.
Yeah, I don't know how much they would be.
Those guys are super goofy and cute. And I feel like
they
I would
though?
get to see a really weird tank being built. That's a yes.
All right. There you go. You got the full range of
They can make you
a
crazy tank at your salon. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
See,
now we're cooking with gas.
Oh gosh.
Color bar tank.
All yellow tanks.
Go big, get a peppermint angel.
Oh, they're so pretty.
I think I told this story before, but I went to a public aquarium that I knew had a peppermint angel, specifically so I could just take some video of a peppermint angel, and it died 2 days before I got there.
That's crazy.
Wasn't that Hawaii?
It was in Hawaii.
That's a rough day.
Thankfully, you were still in Hawaii.
And I'm literally like in this aquarium thinking like, why am I even here?
Imagine the aquarium employee that found the dead
Oh, and that has to go
peppermint
tell the
angel.
director, like, hey, by the way, this $30,000 fish.
And I'm surprised that it's not more expensive.
That's true.
Because, okay, so most people aren't divers, okay?
Right.
But at the depths you're talking about to catch a peppermint angel, you can't just use regular tanks. You need to have like nitrogen blends and stuff like that to
the
even.
way you have to bring it up, so.
But here's the thing. Here's the real kicker. Okay, at that depth, the 3 tanks you're probably carrying down with you, you have probably 5 minutes to find and catch that fish before you have to come back up, or else you're not going to have enough air. Wow. Because you have to make all those stops.
That's kind of wild.
And also down there, like the further down you go, like the pressure is working on your lungs in such a way. But by the time that you're like at about 150 feet or so, by the way, these things are down like 300 something feet.
I was going to ask you,
okay?
that far down.
Your lungs are the size of an apple. Okay? So all of that gas that you're breathing in, it's like you're not actually getting a whole lot of air. You're blowing through a lot of gas, just getting down there. So once you're down there at where they're living, you need to find and catch one in 5 minutes.
I feel like I'm having an anxiety attack.
I'm having trouble with a net up
listening to
here,
that.
yeah.
Nope.
I think I quit breathing for a minute.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. And so your life is absolutely... I mean, can you imagine if something like bad happens? Like, you have to fix it down there. And then you have to like come up slowly over the course of the next... So.
I'm going to stick with the snorkeling where I can just stand up if I get scared.
No, like diving, especially like deep diving, that's some legit dangerous activity.
Yeah, no, I'm way too big a weenie for that nonsense.
Okay, somebody's got an equipment question that I cannot answer because I have no experience with this. Ecotech MPs or AI Neros? I have both, but I was curious which ones you guys think are better quality-wise. It's the same company, so like, I guess it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings. Does anybody have any experience with both?
We have both of them. I would say the Nero kind of pushes more of like one big wall of water. So it's kind of making, we're not even using it right now.
Yeah.
It's a nice, pretty pump and it moves a lot of water, but it's kind of more of like it moves the whole tank back and forth, where the MPs are kind of more of like a shot, a stream, and you can kind of use it to your advantage. Yeah, they're both awesome, but.
Right. The Nero probably spreads a little further
wide
than
angle.
the MPs do. Yeah.
Does the Nero have the cable that goes into the water?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing too, and that's kind of why I haven't been using it. Is I got spoiled with all the MPs, and they're nice and
being outside of the water.
Yes.
We've melted an MP60 here.
That's a talent. Wow.
Because it was just like slightly off center.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
They get hot.
Yeah.
But I didn't know.
Good to know.
Wow.
That sucks.
Oh, I'm gonna.
I'm
also ready to go home.
And check my MP60 when I get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 60s are monsters. Those are so big.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to toothbrush siphon today.
So excited. And if you wanted to get like really fancy, if this is the toothbrush, you do 2 siphons, one at the top and one right here. That way, like whichever like direction you're going, it's always going to be collecting.
Like I'm not a Kardashian. Calm down. That's wild.
Okay, how can I dip a specific LPS coral when on a rock with others? So your LPS coral is like glued onto the same rock with other corals. Let's just say.
Can you try and break it off and re-glue it? But if not, then you're gonna be really creative or not. I don't know if it's gonna work.
You shouldn't be dipping the rock.
Right. Yeah, ideally you don't want to dip your rock.
Yeah, unfortunately for the coral, you're gonna have to cut the rock, or you're gonna have to get that off. I mean, would be my evil answer is if you want to dip that, and you have to.
Yeah. Gotta remove it somehow.
Yeah, cut the rock, cut it.
That's
bad, not fun answer, but.
Yeah.
That's.
And why don't you want to dip the whole rock?
Because more than likely the rock would hold on to some of the dip, and it wouldn't be great to put back into the system with your inverts.
That's true.
Yeah, that's honestly the only reason why.
Yeah, I've never dipped a whole rock, but I just never thought about why.
Besides the fact that it's away from it. It's like dipping a media block. I mean, you think it's just going to suck it all up.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is like, all my stuff isn't exactly glued down, so it's like, just dip the coral.
Yeah.
You know. Some people are saying they like the gyre pumps. They're okay.
I love my gyres.
Yeah, gyres are nice. They push a lot of water. They do require
you have to keep
a little
them really
bit more
clean.
maintenance.
Yeah.
I got too lazy for gyre pumps.
So which pumps do you use?
Yeah.
I have the closed loops.
Okay.
And then I have an MP60. And then just as supplemental I have 2 of the Rossmonts, the 4100s on the back of the tank that kind of are hidden behind the rocks that shoot forward.
Gotcha. Are they hooked up to a controller, or are they just full on?
They have their own controller, so I have them on a random pattern. Same with the closed loops that are powered by the Vectra L2s.
Yeah,
they're on the Reef Crest mode
setting. Yeah,
and then so is the MP60. So a lot of variable flow, theoretically.
I'm very surprised since I started working here and looking at your tank. I always liked closed loops, but for some reason, just looking at them, I'm like, that's not going to be right or create enough random. Oh my gosh.
When I was trying to find spots for the Gonophora in the display tank,
it's hard.
I realized I can't because the Euphilia, I found a couple decent spots for them, but I felt like the Gonophora would want less flow. And I'm like I was like, I think the closed loops are doing okay, and that's why I added those Rossmonts on the back, and then I added an MP60, and I probably could take the Rossmonts out. We'll see. But then when I'm trying to place corals and I see like anything that's wispy or flowy, and the flow moves back and forth in the flow, I was like, holy cow, I got like no good spot for those type of corals. So
there's a lot more flow than I thought there would be in a closed loop. Like a lot.
Like when I see the giant LPS you guys have here, like the Welsos and the
Acanthophilia.
that one, which I can't even say because I've never really considered them because I look at how nice and puffy they are in your systems, and I'm like, there's no flow really to them.
Yeah.
And my tank, like even the frag tank, has got a lot of flow, and I'm like, I'd have to back down that flow.
I feel like you'd have to build a rock structure to
protect
from flow.
Shield. Well, that's where I found places for the Euphilia, or areas that are sheltered by rock overhangs or
It's
whatnot.
my Acanthophilia garage.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to hear a funny story about like one of my closed loops downstairs? So we had that tank, we had the big Peninsula Show tank, guys, and we were doing some modifications to it, so we had to drain it. And because it took our plumber and stuff to get back out here, it took like a long time to get him back out here to do any of this random stuff. So long story short, we had some Abyss A200s as acting as closed loops. And so when we finally got our tank filled up again, one of the Abyss's wouldn't fire again. And I'm like,
hold up.
This is not good. If it was like an Ecotech, like, who cares? We just get on the phone with Ecotech. They'll probably just send me another one as I'm like still on the phone, right? But we're talking about like a $1,500 German pump. It's like,
yeah, that's a hard one.
Yeah. So I learned a lot about taking apart one of these pumps, and long story short, I got it back working again. But boy, is that like a scary, stressful thing to like.
Yeah, no,
because the thing's not even giving me an error message. It's just not working.
Did you diagnose what the issue was, or just taking it apart, putting it together?
It's because it was dry and it wasn't like completely thoroughly cleaned beforehand. It developed like this little bit of like of calcium crust that seized a bearing.
Yeah.
But in taking apart one of these pumps, they are gorgeous on the inside. It's all like titanium. It's like perfectly machined titanium.
Oh yeah, the tolerance of that's probably gotta be crazy.
Yeah, and so like now that I'm very comfortable with like the inner workings of that, it's like, okay, sure, they're stupidly expensive, but they are really nice. And now that I know like basically how to take one completely apart and repair it, it's like, okay, all right, we're good. Good experience, you know. Good hustle, everybody. But no, that was like that was anxiety inducing. It's like, why won't this pump work? Oh no.
I got my alkalinity reading from
the
Alkatronic.
All right.
Pretty level, right?
Yeah, dang.
Anyone out there have the Mastertronic yet? I think it's only really available in other countries right now.
Really?
Yeah, my understanding is CoralView has a test model and we'll be distributing it.
I'm interested to try it, but again, it's like we have going back to the projects that are kind of getting neglected. We have an Alkatronic downstairs that literally says pump C has failed. You need to like look at it, and that error message has been like there for like 3 months.
This is the third time I've been here that it's had that same message on it. And it's not like you reset it and it
just never
aired out again.
No,
it's just you didn't get.
I think
to
we
it
have
yet.
another one in a box too, actually. So.
This is some first world problems. We have an entire GHL Proflux system with the cage director and an Alkatronic. That's not so.
We got some projects.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
We've been a little busy.
So what is that Mastertronic? What does that test now?
Phosphates, nitrates. I think it takes calcium, magnesium. I think it may actually also test alkalinity, just in a different using a test kit.
Version, yeah.
Instead of the way it does with mine.
That'd be nice.
But yeah. Imagine testing for that stuff 2-3 times a day. See, that's what I liked about the Alkatronic is you could test 2-3 hour intervals if you wanted, which I did it originally just to see how alkalinity changes throughout the day or various effects on alkalinity. I'd love to see that in phosphates and nitrates and all the other stuff.
Oh my gosh, that would be fascinating.
Data, graphs, it would be fun. So I made the decision that I'm going to get one.
Is it a titration?
Yeah.
Okay. So the GHL one that has me interested, it's an ion probe. It's a single ion probe that doesn't, well, maybe it does do a titration also. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm so.
Is that one of those you're hoping? Do you have that yet, or that's one you're hoping to get?
They're supposed to be coming out fairly soon here.
So you can
And
get
so-
one and keep it in a box for a few months.
Yeah. So they're
next
supposed to send me one, and then since I have another system, I want to just buy another one as well.
Maybe your next video can be an unboxing.
And then what?
Yeah.
Like
Here it is. This is it.
There you go.
like-
It's
Check it out, guys.
content. It's content.
it
It's
comes with this, and then it comes with this. Okay, bye.
And then we put it back in the box.
Okay, so they say that that inappropriate reefer Moki has one, and Devin, that's Reef Dudes, he has one.
Do they all give good reviews of it, or experiences, not necessarily reviews?
I haven't seen.
I'm asking the audience, or
Oh,
the people that are aware.
clearly not me. I was like, what I know? What do I know? And Richard, who's Richard? I don't know who Richard is.
That might be cornbread.
Richard. Okay. I figured that they'd be like YouTubers that they would be giving that stuff out to.
Monica's got a question. Do we get free shipping on 250 plus for this live sale?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
And how about our upcoming Reef to Reef 2?
Yes.
What's the
same deal?
same deal? Free
So
shipping?
it's flat rate $29.99, and then it's free over $250. Which is for Reef to Reef, it's weird because I think that they never do that.
You always pay shipping on Reef to Reef, so
Yeah, I don't know. What's
that'll
up
be
with that.
cool. Makes it easier. For
It's
us.
easy. It's easier for us just to keep on doing what we do.
That's exactly.
So I'm not going to change our shipping infrastructure just because I don't know the culture of one particular thing. Somebody says Ganipur is so hard to keep that it's the only coral that died on me after 3 weeks.
It's very hard.
Connies can be picky. Their placement super matters. The water nutrients matter.
They fight with one another. They can't be kept near each other.
Locations.
They're prone to bacterial infections as well.
Rob Pinkman's asking, I wonder how many frag plugs Tidal Gardens goes through in a year.
Well,
All of them?
Lots.
Yeah.
Lots. Tens of thousands.
yeah, you just ordered a couple thousand, they're gone.
That's crazy.
Richard is aficionado. Okay. So that's like reefs.com. Yeah.
Reefs.com.
Yeah, I figured that like if the Alcatronic company, what do they call it? I don't know.
Focustronic.
Focustronic. I figured if they're giving out like demo test beta units, it's going to be to like YouTubers that actually talk about gear. Like I avoid gear talk like the plague. Like I don't want to talk about devices.
You love devices, but yeah, you don't need to.
Do I like devices that nobody buys. Like I like industrial, like commercial grade stuff.
Correct.
Somebody way long ago, maybe an hour ago, was asking like, "What do you think about about ozone?" I'm like, I would love to try ozone. The problem is I got a lot riding on my systems right now, and if I screw up ozone, it's gonna go real bad on a really big investment.
Big scale.
And I don't have a small tank to try this on, so I can't mess with ozone. But if I did mess with ozone, I'd have to call up
A commercial plumber. Well,
So like my main
Water
plumber's
filtration.
brother.
yeah.
He does he would do
Filtration.
for a wastewater treatment plant sort of thing, and he'd come in and do all my ozone stuff.
That feels real intense.
Hospital.
Yeah.
So get this, okay? So this guy, this my plumber's brother, all right, when I text him, when I need like 5 bags of ice melt, that ice melt will show up in 4 hours. Okay? It's incredible. And one time I texted him with a question about whether I could like test chlorine like automatically or something like that in one of my systems. And he calls back in about 90 minutes, apologized that he hasn't gotten back to me sooner because he's buying a water utility. Like the entire town's water system.
Okay.
That's the deal
Sorry,
that he's
I'm
working
kinda
with.
sorry.
It's like this
Checking
dude.
the pipes.
It's like I'm like I don't even answer like 6 emails a day. All right,
Or my text at all.
or your text at all. Like this phone. The only reason it's in front of me is because I needed to turn it off. Okay, so this dude, I don't know how he does it. Like, I'm working on this deal. Like, we're going to be buying some water utilities.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and
did
this
it help you test the chlorine?
Well, we were talking about it. It turns out that, like, you know, to test chlorine, you have to have it constantly running through. So it wouldn't work for my system, but whatever. This is just like a question I was texting him. And he stopped everything. He's like Mayor so-and-so, I gotta go. Click. I gotta call Fan.
There's some good questions that have popped up.
Are there?
Yeah.
Are you gonna ship to Canada? No. Where do you keep your phosphates and nitrates at? That's a good question.
We got a lot of systems. They're all a little different.
They all have a sweet spot.
Yeah.
The system that I'm most concerned about, it's 0-0. I don't like to see 0-0. In my other tanks, it's like very high number, very high number. And I actually feel more confident about that because I know that tweaks I make to that are very much in control.
Yeah.
Whereas if I tweak 0-0, that could go sideways so fast.
Quick.
Yeah. And just completely out of control. Like, oh, we're gonna have a second cycle in a 2,000 gallon system that I have no control over now. So I worry about that. But long story short, it's either going to be like what's like the greenhouse testing at?
Actually, it's been pretty low. So like say mostly the phosphates are anywhere from 0.05 to 0.08, and then the nitrates from 2 to 10. So they're actually really nice with it. They've never
used
So there's one system that is still insane. The phosphates are like 1.15.
Okay.
But stuff's fine in it.
I was going to say, how's the coral look?
Amazing. It blows
The corals
my
are
mind.
fine.
Blows
Yeah.
my mind.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, a lot of the other ones are becoming in range.
Yeah. And we have one QT system that has really, well, in
In our mind,
in
high
our
phosphates.
opinion, really high phosphates.
Which
Yeah,
is like
it's
0.2.
0.28, I think, were the readings. Yeah.
Which system was this?
That's QT2.
QT2.
But we don't want to mess with it because
Okay, so
that's the next tank.
so
That's where
our
they like
quarantine system 2
Is not a...
basically is not a quarantine system.
Right.
It's where we have started to quarantine our Nexus sunburst anemones, which I don't know how much they sell for, $3,000 each. They're
if they're
splitting
for
in that
sale.
tank. Guess what? That became a Nexus sunburst anemone farm.
Test everything
And it looks beautiful.
keep it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like no.
So 0.28, that's where they're at, and it's great.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna keep splitting. Oh yeah. Okay. Sure. Whatever. And all the other corals in it, we don't care about them.
No, yeah, we're like, yeah, don't worry about them.
They're
This
fine.
is for the nems.
Yeah. As long as these things are splitting, everything is fine. Yes. I dress up for you guys, Patrick's Aquatics. I really do. These guys know. I'm in
yeah?
pajamas every day.
I've heard that, but I've never seen this guy not looking dapper. So
I try occasionally.
that's how you know I hang out with my Nana a lot. I use the word dapper.
Dandy. Ian is asking, do you think a Radion 15 Blue would have a sufficient particle SPS at the surface of a 20-inch by 2-foot by 2-foot cube?
20-inch deep.
So it's a 24 by 24 footprint, 20 inches deep at the top. 115.
Maybe right underneath it.
I'm not loving that idea of that kind
I
of
wouldn't
coverage.
want to do it, no.
Yeah.
You might be able to just get like stylos or bird's nest, but I don't know about actually
I mean,
acros.
intensity-wise, sure, but
Yeah.
my biggest problem is going to be like the shadowing that might happen because it's
Yeah,
going to be
that's
so
one too small
weirdly
of a light
directional.
for that size of a footprint.
Aquatic and stuff, when it came to talking about testing, it's like, don't ask. It's not so much don't ask, it's just the, it's more like, I don't really know. But the other thing is, okay, so there's actually a really good quote that somebody had shared with me, okay? Because I said, don't add anything like supplement-wise for anything that you're not currently testing for. So people are like, should I dose iodine? I don't know. Are you testing for iodine? But this guy had a kind of like a tangent off of that, which is don't test for anything that you're not going to do anything about. Like, and I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, I'm going to do a test for iron. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We'll do nothing about iron, right?
Yeah.
So, or just like I'm going to test for manganese because I'm curious. Like,
What are your strontium levels?
Yeah.
yeah, so what, again, So that was kind of an interesting thing, but I think like his take was like from medical school, where it's like, don't test for anything that you don't plan to treat. So
that is true, because number chasing can
exactly. You turn into number chasing. So even if you're testing your nutrients every day, all day, I mean, you could start messing with your tank too much because you're trying to make it something that you're not. So
which I think we've all done. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Stability is the most important thing, not necessarily the number.
Somebody's asking who makes up these Zoa names. Good question, not me.
Oh my gosh.
I love naming things.
Do you?
I do.
It is fun.
You come up with good
I
names.
had some toxic masculinity Zoas, some mansplainers, because I am a feminist. Okay.
Yeah, people, I don't know.
Good God.
Mansplainers. That's not going to go very far in this hobby.
No.
That's like, yeah.
It didn't go far in my tank.
It didn't go far in my tank.
Yeah, so it's like my YouTube audience, I see the demographics, 95% male.
Oh, for sure.
Like, there's only mansplaining going on. Needed to step out for a while. Sorry for a double post, Than. What are your thoughts on cryptic zone sumps? Are those even really a thing? Meaning, like, I've heard of them. I don't know. I've never met anybody that's done them for any reason.
I've seen some big systems have cryptic zones, and they use like ceramic cylinders and stacked them. Okay. But that's about as far as I know of anyone who actually has done them. And I would imagine you have to have a pretty big. You need a big system or a big sump. It's not going to do anything if it's a 5 gallons of a sump on a 60 gallon. You know, it's for the definition of cryptic, it's going to have to be pretty big.
I have no experience.
To create.
No experience, yeah.
Sorry.
By the way, the show has officially restarted, so we're in overtime.
There's a great name for a Zoa there.
Rusty butthole Zoas.
Oh my god.
I've not heard of the rusty butthole Zoa. That's nice.
That's a new one.
It's a new one.
There was a question on there, Than. They were wondering how long the corals for the live sale are going to be up.
Good question. Usually they hang out until about Wednesday.
Cool.
Yep, Wednesday. So does somebody want to just like quickly host, and I'm going to go run and use the bathroom, and then we'll wrap it up? Jen, you want to come up here?
Sure.
Everybody just wants to see Jen. Let's be serious.
Yeah, that's true. She's the know-it-all.
Bye, guys.
Oh, I'm definitely a know-it-all, but I'm not the know-it-all. I don't think you're definitely people that know more.
There's no pressure, but the flow and interest of this show is
it's all
now
on
dependent
you
upon
now.
you. So you're basically the MC at the wedding that nobody's dancing at right now.
Oh my gosh, somebody on here said that Than came up with gorilla nipple Zoas, so that's also a good name.
Well,
that one's
when he gets back, we will be bringing that up.
That one has some legs because that name's been around for many years.
Yeah, that has been.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Oh, that's funny.
You were talking about high-end fish you wanted. Which ones do you want?
Feminist wrasse.
Oh, okay.
Which is the number one.
And
then there's the Lenardi wrasse as well, but I think that's how it's said. I believe that my understanding was it comes from colder water, so then that one kind of, I'm not sure I'm going to go into that one anymore. Mm-hmm. But I do want a couple other various wrasses in the near future, hopefully.
Do you freshwater dip your Zoas? We normally don't, at home at least. Zoas, we normally dip everything in reef primer for pest removal or Coral RX. We use on Zoas just because Zoas do like to hide a lot of gross things. RX, I feel like, kills a lot more.
So Jim's asking, he says, tell me all about bacteria. So Jim, Telegram, a lot of you might know him on Instagram and YouTube. He's been having trouble with his tank. He's slowly losing all his SPS. At least it started with his 10 US and then moving on to different types of other strains. He doesn't know if it's a bacteria or what's happening. Now, surprisingly, a lot of our friends, not a lot, I know 2 other people, that this weird time in the winter, they will gain all their SPS all summer, grow them into colonies, and then they all just start stripping. They don't know what's happening with them. Remember Andrew's tank?
Right. Now, I was wondering if he had a pest.
A pest?
Yeah. Tell me all about bacteria. That's cute. So, bacteria, a lot of coral I think are susceptible. There are a lot of blastos, a lot of ganies. Anything with like a softer skeletal base usually can get bacterial infections. Anything that has an open skeleton, like right after you frag something,
you'll see in the skeleton it's not white. You'll literally see red bands or pink, or it'll almost even smell a little bit.
And that we like to use reef primer and iodine anytime we have
heavy iodine.
Yes.
A lot of iodine.
Yes, like orange. Make it visible in the water. Do that for a few minutes, rinse it, and then you're going to want to go into reef primer if you can. And we've actually stopped coral from RTNing with that. I mean, we've saved a couple of Goniopora with it.
Open skeleton and get the meds in them.
Yep.
But we're trying to learn about bacteria too. We've tried to dose it in our tank to try and get rid of bad bacteria that's in it. And that kind of waffled the tank a little bit. So we're still learning as in how to control it, I guess.
Yeah, we're trying to come up with our own sort of methods, I guess. The bacteria is, if you're going to dose bacteria or probiotics, I just think you need to be consistent. So we were messing with a product called EcoBalance, which is a live bacteria, and we were really only doing it with our water changes, and there was just too much fluctuation with it. So I think that if we did it just either small increments dosed all the time, or just not at all. I think that's kind of unfortunately, that's the option.
Yeah, and it's nature. I know Telegram, he's saying, hey, I touched my dog and maybe I put my hand in the water and that was the problem.
But yeah, for this time of year, I don't know what that would be unless it's like a
hand sanitizer?
Oxygen.
Yeah.
Oh, hand sanitizer. Yeah.
Hand sanitizer super kills corals.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
It's bad, but I'm bad with washing my hands because I'm here all day and then I go
Right.
home and I got to mess with my tank. So I know it's probably not the best, but I care way too much about coral and stuff that I'll...
Yeah, I generally, before I mess in the tanks, I just rinse my hands like a crazy person in just hot water just to kind of rinse any yuck off. But yeah, try not to reach in your tanks at all if you've been using hand sanitizer because that will cause issue. And what type of fluctuation? Good question. Our phosphate levels were...
They go way
over
up
the
and then
board.
way down. So like when you dose the bacteria, it'd probably eat it up, which it did.
Yeah,
And then all of a
drop
sudden
it to,
that
like, triple
bacteria
zeros.
ate it and it was sitting there and then we'd gain nutrients again. So you have to, that's why we stopped because we couldn't keep it consistent.
Yeah, we weren't getting the growth that we like in our acros with the phosphate levels just jumping all over the place. And our colors just weren't ideal. So we're just kind of pausing on the EcoBalance at least. But yeah.
SPS are weird. We've almost given up on them a couple times too.
No.
But
Yeah,
we know,
no, we're not.
But,
Don't worry.
but never. We always go back, and then I'll start liking something else. I'm like, oh yeah, LPS are cool and mushrooms,
that's
but
why we like to have multiple systems because then like there's
I won't follow you on Instagram anymore if you
okay.
stop SPS.
And we always say, I mean, we keep SPS, but literally
Love
probably
macaroons.
1 to 2 months of the year they're perfect and happy, and the rest we're trying to figure out why they're not.
How many tanks do you guys have?
We only have 3 systems, and they're not even that big. We keep smaller tanks. We just like
When
it that
I
way.
was at your place, it looked like you had a lot more than 3.
No, it's just because the frag tank
It's
and-
tied into the display, so it maybe looked a little more.
So you had the 2 that are tied in, then you had the one in the family
Just a
room,
90
and the one
with
in
a
the
40
bedroom.
frag tank, and then a 25 little lagoon and a little 9-gallon.
Yep.
They're small, and it's funny. I work here all day, and then when I go home, I'm like, how do I keep stuff alive in this little tank? It's like that's the little water. Like Luke
my
was telling me the
gosh.
other day, he's like, that would scare me. I'm like,
I know.
yeah,
That's where we have the majority of our fanciest mushrooms is in our little 9-gallon
the
tank.
smallest tank.
We have our purple monster in the 25-gallon, which that one's the fluctuations. But
What makes
it's
it
so
fun.
happy. So,
It's a hobby.
no, right.
Well, thanks, guys. This has been a great
Yeah.
show. We ran over. Fans, trying to cue the wrap-up music, so we got to go play with our tanks now.
Yes. Yeah, it's water change day.
Yep.
I think the kids are going to want more ice cream before we leave.
Oh, for sure.
Ice cream.
Yeah, there's like some
Dan,
lunchy,
let me
lunchy
get out
type
of your
stuff.
chair.
Alrighty. Okay. Fun show, guys. Yeah, like a last little bit of a PSA. Shipping will likely start on Tuesday for many of you. We will reach out, get in touch, and schedule something. But like because of the backlog from last week, the Monday's basically shot. So it's going to be like starting Tuesday shipping wise. So that is pretty much it from here. Thank you guys so much for attending.
Are you going to name your Patreon people?
Am I going to name the... Okay, I'll do the Patreon shout out, right? All right, real quick. Bill Russell, Brandy Camp, Christopher Frame, Jeremy Altman, Joseph Debo, Alan Jackson, Chuck Admire, Ernest Wallace Jr., Gene A. Van Voorst, Greg Zimmerman, Gwen Nicodemus, Harkins Aquatics, Keith Singer, Kevin Cortez, Lisa Clow, Puddle Aquatics, Reef Infidel, Rico's Aquariums, Rigoberto Rodriguez, Ryan Kern, Sananomine, Scotty D, Skylar Korn, Sue Hemmons, The Classroom Reef, Thomas Tarrant, Trevor Joseph Overbeck, Rebecca Hull, and Tim Garner. And for the YouTube members, we have Jen Coop 3.8, Jim Varnon, Hal Scott 328 Reef, Deidre Zuener, and Two Please Coral Reefs. So thank you all very much. And thanks to you guys for coming and hanging out. Sean Paul took off and was shopping for corals downstairs, presumably. But yeah, we're gonna see what's left of our food here, and we'll catch you guys next time. Sometime in March, I'm guessing, towards the end of the month. All right. I will see y'all later.